Check, check. 1, 2. 1, 2. That's right. This is the first Matrix University live session. I will be your host, Lazarus. And we're just going to open up the broadcast to the chat, Q&A. You know, we're going real unscripted here today. Not sure what to expect, but I wanted to go ahead and test everything, you know, for future stuff. You know, we've got this situation going on worldwide, so I'm trying to do my best to be productive with this time and get some things knocked out of the way that, you know, life was too busy. The Matrix was putting all these distractions in front of me, and now all of a sudden those distractions are not with me. So here we are. Again, the questions will be coming from the chat. So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask. We've got Cave Rave coming up on Saturday in the Matrix Online emulator. Last Saturday was the party, the quarantine party at Club Hell. We hit some record high numbers for the emulator population there. But yeah, the party starts at 2 p.m. The doors open at 2 p.m. on Saturday, 4/11. That's April 11th. So, what else is going on here? Well, we're basically just waiting for someone to jump in the room here and ask some questions. Yeah, these are not going to end up being saved on the channel because, like I said, this is more of a test run. Just wanted to make sure everything worked out technically, that the setup here was on point. The mic sounds good. The volumes are good. So we can work out the kinks. I think we have somebody in the chat. Do we have someone in the chat? Hello. Can you hear me? Are we loud and clear? Oh, it's making me sign into chat, so I can't chat with you just right now, I guess. See, this is why we do this. We test this live because I didn't know that was going to be a problem. But now I know. And like I said, I can see what you're saying here. I have Syntax. Well, thank you for coming, Syntax. Thank you for all your help with the videos showing people how to get to the different Matrix Online emulator parties. We got the Cave Rave coming up, and I appreciate all of the things you've done to help me get that going there, and I appreciate you for checking in with me today, making sure that this live stream works, and I can see your chat messages here. I'm not sure if you hear me on a delay or how that's going. I wish I could chat with you in the chat, but like I said, it's giving me some pop-up here, so I think I fixed it. There we go. Eyes in the chat. So I have a bit of an accent, you say. What how would you describe my accent, if I can ask? And then the other question I have is, how is the volume in terms of the mic versus the music? Is the mic too loud? Is the music not loud enough? Vice versa? Are there any type of notes that you have for that level of sound quality in terms of how loud or not loud things are? Now I can see you here too. Did you want to be a mod? Because I trust you. I think you have good judgment. One day in the future, mod work might be required here, so. But for now, we've got the floor open for questions. If you want to ask questions in the chat, you can. Anything Matrix related or loosely Matrix related or not even so much Matrix related. We're just trying to test out the technical things here, as this is the first full live session on the NeoMatrixology channel. Once again, trying to take advantage of all this downtime we have due to the global pandemic. And truth be told, I want to talk more about Matrix. That's going on everywhere. So, you can go anywhere to talk about that. But like I said, this is more about the Matrix itself. We've got our parties. We got the Cave Rave coming up in the Matrix Online emulator this Saturday. We had the Hell Club party last Saturday. But yeah, this Saturday we're going to have the music broadcasted. We found a way to broadcast the music for the party in the game. So that should be extra fun for everyone. I haven't decided if we're going to do a request thing or not, because that can go one way or the other. That can be really good or really bad. So, yeah, I haven't decided. Maybe we might do like a tweet your request or something like that. I mean, it's all about which platform is going to be easiest for something like that. I mean, I guess because right, ultimately, what I don't want is requests in game, because then what happens is when, then I'd have, I'm toggling instead of enjoying the party. So, any requests would have to be before the event. That's why I haven't decided, what way to go or to go at all with anything like that. But, yeah, this is something different. All right, and then the image on the screen is the Project Matriculated event. And of course, as we were getting all the planning and everything ready to roll with that project, that's when the situation kind of exploded locally, so to speak. So, we just got to sit and wait. And I figure once the dust settles and the Matrix 4 production gets back to shooting, which of course is a wild card right now, we don't know when that's going to start. But once they do, I'm hoping that we'll get some sort of leaked information on if the date's going to move, how long it's going to be until until we find out what exactly is going to be the new date, if there's a new date. I mean, there's still a outside chance that we still make that May 21st, 2021. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been on the Discord chat in terms of vocal chat yet, so I'm just trying to work out all the mic kinks and stuff, so I don't sound like a noob over there. But yeah, I'll definitely jump over there at some point. One thing I was thinking in terms of the event Saturday, because I think somebody mentioned trying to have the music going through there, but I don't know how that would work. So that's why I didn't test that. But I think the one that we tested, you said that worked out pretty good on your end. So I'm hoping people will tune in there. And if it's just me and you in there, I mean, then that's what it is. Like I said, I got 7 hours worth of bangers. So, if as long as somebody's listening, it's worth it. Yeah, but I mean, I was just, like I said, I really just wanted to let this thing go on YouTube for a little bit, just to see all what is entailed, what I have to do on my end as the administrator and voice of the live. The interface is pretty straightforward. But yeah, I think I tried to test it maybe 2 nights ago, and Vesuvius told me he got an email, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. I guess he's notification gang. But yeah, I didn't know that it was going to go live. Because the tutorial I watched said that you had to put in like a streaming key and all this stuff, and I didn't do that. So, when I hit the green button, he's like, oh, no, you're live. And I'm like, oh, my bad. So, but yeah, like I said, these lives I'm not going to save. These aren't going to stay up on the channel. I'm just trying to work out the bugs and get everything going, take advantage of this time that we have. But if anybody wants to ask any questions, I will be answering any questions in the chat. Any Matrix-related questions that you might have, you can go right ahead. And I will try to get to everybody's questions because there's so many of you here. But no, I do appreciate everyone as always. What else we got going here? Yeah, like I said, mostly I've been getting everything lined up and ready for the event Saturday. Like I said, the playlist is ready to go. I might add a couple more tracks just in case we run later than last week. But yeah, we had a great time at Hell Club, and I'm looking forward to this cave rave. See how many people we can get squeezed into those caves. But man, they are a maze, aren't they? Like, I mean, I was trying to find the dungeon. I was trying to take one of the new players around, and he was like, oh yeah, can you take me on the tour? What all is down here? I'm like, yeah, there's a couple dungeons. Let me check you out. Let me show you that. And next, I got lost, and I'm like, oh man, I found like a whole other teleporter that I didn't even know was there. So yeah, those cave mazes can be quite the situation because the map is really no good down there. There's a map, but I wouldn't call it any kind of help. You just kind of have to, work your way around. Now, what's cool is, the NC code, the hack codes, that is really, really valuable down there. Because if you jump down without it, you can't really get back up from some places. Like, you have to leave and then come back. So, if new players want to come in, and, I definitely don't mind sharing how to, do those little different hacks and get your way around. Oh, the cave of your people. So you were a Zionist, huh? Yeah, I was hardcore machinist, vector hostile. I was sniping low levels at Mara for a living. Took pride in that high CQ count, that kill count was my pride and joy. I miss late nights and early mornings of snipes at Mara Central. But it is nice to be able to explore that environment, especially right now. During this time, like I said, trying to find silver linings and utilize this time. So to be able to reconnect with people who played the game is pretty cool. When I started this channel, this was pushing on like 9 months ago, 10 months, something like that. It was last summer. Yeah, when I started the channel, I installed the emulator, and there wasn't really anybody on. But now, man, yeah, like the last couple weeks, there's been more people on the last couple weeks than, like BitBomb said, we set a record on Saturday of activity. So looking forward to breaking new records this Saturday. And what's that? Check the chat here. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. I do need to make some macros for like one, because I think I just have the one from the the MXO guide for dummies, so that the default number they give you is like 5. So you hit that and you like jump like a whole floor level. So yeah, I want to I mean, I've got like, I want to say like 5 free bars, so I got plenty of room to just have like a bar of, hack NC code for different levels of how I want to float and levitate and do my Chris Angel impersonation inside the Matrix. Yeah, no, that map is useless in the caves, man. Like, I turned it on, and I was like, what? It's just the rectangle. This place is much more than a rectangle. But that was also part of the fun, because, without the missions or the combat, there's that's the funny thing that I realized when we were shopping the other day. There's a lot to do for there to be no real, game content. Oh, 0.5. I didn't even know you could do that. Gotcha. That's actually, thanks. That's really helpful. Okay. Yeah, no, I'll try that. I'll definitely try that. Oh, I see the screenshot there. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Very cool. So yeah, no, I'm glad it's working out. I just wanted to, talk for a little bit more, just because, like Vesuvius said, it sends out the notification, and I think I tweeted it out too. I didn't really get to check to see if that worked, but I wanted to let people get a chance to come in and ask any questions that they might have, just because we're live for the first time here, and so this is still more of a test run. It's not any scripted content, but I did want to give people the opportunity to ask me any Matrix related questions that they might have, any emulated questions they might have, just to give them the opportunity to check on in, since we are live and direct for the first time on this channel. So, ooh, wow, man, time flies fast in here. It's already been, it says 18 minutes. So, yeah, no, I'm impressed that I can talk about nothing for that long. Unscripted by myself is a little weird. It's one of those things I'm sure I'll get used to over time. I mean, I have done a little voiceover work in the past. I had a college radio show back in the day, but that was like straight music format. So, and then they made you play commercials and stuff. So like there wasn't really a whole lot of talk over, like, I would talk over in between mixes and blends, but that's the thing. Like, I was, blending with turntables. So, there's a lot of work involved with that. So, it'd be that quick voiceover, but nothing crazy, nothing like this. This is definitely a new experience for me here. And yeah, I'm not gonna, like, the way that the broadcast is gonna go. Hey, what's up, Elusive Truth? Right, we 4 deep. Yeah, I don't think the mic is set up the way it broadcasts, or the way the broadcast is gonna go for the cave rave. So it's just gonna be the music. Like I said, I want to enjoy the party. I don't want to be worried about working. Okay, we got David Ratcliffe, the Doc Bot, in the building. Thank you guys for coming through. Appreciate all your support and matrixy energy. I mean, that's the one thing I will say. The silver lining for me with this global situation is it's kind of allowed me to really connect with some dope hardcore Matrix fans that I didn't know were out there before. Because I've been searching for you guys. I mean, I started this channel. One of the motivations was how much I missed the Matrix Online and that energy. So it's really cool to reconnect and actually meet people that were there on different servers at that time that I had never met back then, that I'm, meeting and hanging out with in the emulator today. And that's also cool. Yeah. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. And that's part of, getting these live streams going. Hopefully that will help generate some more subscriptions, some more Matrix fan energy to the party. Yeah, when I started the channel, I mean, like I said, I missed the Matrix Online a lot. I mean, I always have that. That's never really gone away. But yeah, there was this, I had unplugged from a lot of social media for a while, and so I missed like when the whole Smith is the one and the Matt Pat, the film theorist kind of wave of theories got real big. I was under my rock, chilling in the real world, and so yeah, I jumped back on YouTube, and every time I like would comment in a YouTube comment section, there'd be some dude, yeah, Agent Smith is the one, and going on and on about this stuff. I'm like, where are you guys getting this stuff from? So then I found the video, and there was actually some kid did a debunk video, but I didn't find it right away. Like, I searched, and I guess he like titled it funny or something. It didn't really tag it, so I didn't see it. So that's when I made the Smith is not the one video, just so if I ever got into one of those kind of arguments in a comment section, I could point to say, here, take this link and watch that video and don't argue with me anymore. So that's how things kind of like the ball got rolling in terms of pushing me to start this channel. And then, I started connecting with people, Matrix fans on Twitter, and they kind of like pushed me to make more videos. And then I installed the emulator, and somewhere in and around there, I think on the emulator forum, I ran into Vesuvius. Yeah, I just saw that comment. Yeah, he's a piece of work, that guy. But not Vesuvius. It says Matt Pat in the chat. Vesuvius is actually really cool. Right, so I ran into him, and like I ran into him on Instagram and a couple comments. And like I said, we connected as Matrix fans, and I'm like, man, this guy's like the resident curator of all Matrix online content. Excuse me. Like, I just imagine him like, I don't know if you guys know the that librarian, like when you're trying to go to the constructs in MXO, like that's definitely like how I see Vesuvius, like the guy who just has like all this Matrix online knowledge that will send you to a construct of 0-1, and like you just, okay, boom, I'm here. So yeah, it was fun linking up with him. The beef is real. The beef is real. I'm in the comments right now if anybody wants to know why I'm laughing. Like I said, this is a new platform for me, so I'm trying to, get used to everything and get this live streaming thing going, just because in the future I want to do lives for this channel. Like I said, for the guys who are going to be at the Cave Rave, we've got music broadcasting working, not through this. I'm going to put the link in Discord so that you don't have to bring your own beats this week, unlike last week where it was a bring your own beats event. But yeah, man, this has basically just kind of been like an experiment the whole way. And for a little while there, like people on Twitter were talking about different topics, and then I make a video about that. And I mean, I still do videos by request. Like if somebody's in the comment section and they bring up a really good topic, I'll just go ahead and make a video about it. That's been kind of my thing, is just kind of feeding off of the crowd energy and letting you guys kind of steer this thing too. And that's been a lot of the fun for me. Like I said, it's just kind of connecting with other Matrix fans. I always had a good time on the Matrix Online original forums with that. Because, on Vector, Vector was a hostile server, for those who don't know, which means open PvP. So where like recursion and syntax, there was a lot of role play. And I always wanted to engage in that more. But on Vector, it was almost like role play was like looked down upon by like most of the players. So I had to like go to the forums to kind of get that role playing out of my system and stuff, which I did. And, we put some fan art story stuff up there. But that's what's funny. So this channel, like I said, I did the, debunking of the film theorist stuff in those videos, the, Matrix inside of Matrix is not an Inception video. But if you check, the date of this channel actually started, I think it says June 2008. So the actual original genesis of this YouTube channel was because of the Matrix Online. Like I made these little videos, like fan art videos, as you would put it, headcanon videos of our faction's backstory. We had like Ventrilo chat, back in the day. So I'm like, well, how am I going to share this with everybody? Oh, like let's post it to YouTube. So that's what I did. I created the channel. I'd edit the videos, put them on YouTube, and most of them are still here. One of them got lost in the shuffle somewhere. I can't find it. I know it was uploaded at some point, but I don't know where if it got flagged or taken down by YouTube. Probably, might have been a copyright thing. There's one that I have as unlisted, and I won't make it public just so that timestamp is still there, just so that you can like I have proof that I uploaded videos when the Matrix Online was still live. But the rest of them are all live right now, so you can actually see footage that I took from when the game was still a real thing. So that's kind of a fun thing that's there, a little footnote about this channel. So yeah, I'm not a poser. I'm not one of these Matrix Online guys who didn't know a damn thing about it. I paid my monthly subscription, and I was there, man. It was a real thing. We're not making it up. We're not just trying to promote Rajko's project, although I definitely support him. I definitely thank him for the work he's put in, because like it's really cool, man. Like especially if you were there to be able to still explore the environment. I mean, it was over 10 years ago, and when they scrubbed, that was another thing. Another reason why I started the channel is because like when they scrubbed the MXO forums, I was like, yo, how could you just dump this? Like, you can't tell me that they can't afford it. It was just text. Like, it wasn't that serious. So the fact that they like erased it the way they did, like, was just devastating. So yeah, part of me just wanted to have an opportunity to experience that kind of, I guess, fan fiction side of things again, and put everything in one place. I mean, who knows? YouTube could go through a massive overhaul and delete it too, but here I am being stubborn and trying it again. Okay, so Elusive, you brought up a very, very interesting topic. Whew. Okay, so the blue pill. As far as the blue pill goes, stay the hell away from Bill Gates. I don't want to go too far because I know, YouTube can be real funny with those kind of conversations. I'm not making any direct slanderous statements. I am only talking about alleged things. I'm not slandering in any way, for the record. And like I said, these are just test videos, so this isn't going to stay up anyway. But yeah, man, stay away from that blue chip or whatever you want to call it. I do not trust that madness at all. But yeah, no, as far as simulation theory goes, and this is like a great the agents are coming. You gotta remember, the Skynet service provider is cool with the agents. We've got an information sharing agreement, so I'm allowed to speak how I feel, and that's no problem. That is part of the information sharing agreement. So I'm cool on the agents. The agents are cool. Agent Pace is my homegirl. Shout out to Agent Gray and the architect. Those my buddies. We go way back. But yeah, the simulation theory we were talking about, right? So, okay. My thing is, I like to try to, for a lack of a better phrase, take comfort in the idea that I don't have to know everything. In fact, I think it's more comfortable for me to assume that I wasn't even designed to be able to understand everything, that, all the secrets of the universe. And I won't deny that there is a drive to want to know secrets of the universe and to want to know more and what's beyond our finite being. But that doesn't mean that I'm allowed or even built to fully understand that. And, with that said, when I see the proofs, when like I read these articles of somebody saying, okay, well, we can prove that you're in a simulation, and then I go through everything and I break down the logic piece by piece, and I'm like, well, a lot of it usually sounds like the designer theory. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the God is a designer or has to be a designer because, nature and the fundamentals of DNA and all these things are so complex. They use the structure of the eyeball and how that works as an example, and all these things are, so complicated that, well, someone had to design it, right? And a lot of things that are said as logical statements in the simulation theory really remind me of that. I feel like there's like kind of like these conclusions that are jumped, and I understand that our perception is simulation, but to jump to say, okay, well, it has to be, this alien program that's been built and we're perceiving it. I think that there's the same amount of or lack of evidence that you could bring to any, religious Genesis debate or even the Big Bang. I mean, you can roll the clock back, but we just can't really prove it. So with that said, in my personal experience, and maybe in the future, once we go through all the Matrix trilogy stuff, and believe me, we've got plenty to go, and then the Matrix 4 is coming, so there's going to be even more to talk about. But at some point, I did want to open up, a series on the channel, maybe to like lucid dreaming, because I used to do like a lot of lucid dreaming. I used to have all these like really wild and intense, and wild as a wake-induced lucid dream, like just all these different techniques and stuff. And did a little shared dreaming, the whole Inception experience. And to me, from my experience, that makes the whole simulation thing really problematic, because when you're talking about the perception of the dream space, especially with regard to sharing the dream space, now you're getting into all these different levels of, okay, so the simulation that was built is so complex that you now perceive in a space where you have complete creative control and you can make anything you want. It's just a lot, man. I don't know that I really buy it like that. It's just, again, it's not impossible. I'm not going to rule it out. I'm not going to say that I know for certain we are not in a simulation, but I guess my beef with it, where I see it go in this place a lot that I feel is kind of dangerous, and that's that a lot of times I see people use simulation theory as this place where it's like the Agent Smith thing, this promotion of ego, where instead of saying, okay, we're all in the simulation, I see a lot of people do this thing where they go, well, I'm in the simulation and everyone else is an NPC. Everyone else is a non-controlled player. So it's like, that's one of the reasons why I use the phrase at the end of every video. It's from the movie Waking Life. And it's like, when you recognize that you're sharing the dream, or rather when you recognize that you're a projection in someone else's dream, that we're all having the experience, that self-awareness. When you step outside of your own ego and not only see yours, but see the projection of someone else's as equal to that, that's when you really become aware of your connection to everything. And, again, that goes into the whole lucid dreaming experience and astral projection and all these different things. But, okay, the chat's really popping here. Let me get to you guys' comments here real quick. Yeah, I'm not going to deny. Okay, when you zoom out of Google Maps, it looks like a motherboard. I'm not going to deny you of that at all. And, I've even seen, like when you talk about CGI and like how like graphics have, gotten better over the years. One of the big leaps in technology with that was when they started emulating how nature builds things in terms of the geometry. And, that's another thing that I kind of go into with the whole simulation theory. I mean, is it not, in the end, are we not just trying to play God? Are we not just trying to recreate what nature is already doing? So if that's the case, is it that a simulation already exists, or we're trying to build to a point where we are the creators, where we are building the simulation. So, I mean, I feel like the argument can go either way. Let me get to the doc bot here. Okay, if anyone actually experienced the disruption of their input-output signal and wakes up, you think they'll be able to handle that and survive the unplugging. Okay, so for that, I gotta defer to my factions, my Skynet experience in the Matrix Online originally, and we talked a little bit about this on the forum, where the RSI had the experience of the previous host, and that was like, how do I put this? A creative expression of kind of what you're asking here. Like, I used to have this really intense series of, see, these weren't lucid dreams because I didn't control them, but it was just like reoccurring dreams, and it was like this very futuristic setting. And the way that people would talk about having like dreams about past lives, or they were like some queen in ancient Egypt or whatever. I'd have these experiences in dreams in the future that felt like my life, but a future version of it. So again, these experiences that I've had in the dream space like really left the lasting impact on my real waking life. So when you say that, to me the question is really, I think it goes on an individual basis. Like, somebody could wake up from the dream, just like the Matrix. Of course, a lot of things are always going to come back to that because they cover so much. When Morpheus shows Neo what the Matrix is and the construct, and then he asked to get out, and they're in the ship, and Cypher says he's gonna pop. I mean, some people probably can't handle it. Some people, or even one of my favorite Animatrix episodes, Matriculated. Spoiler alert, and you guys know on this channel I'm gonna spoil all the Matrix stuff. So, if you haven't seen Animatrix, catch up, please. I've been trying not to go hard with the Animatrix just so people could get caught up, but we get into that point where I just gotta talk about it. So, Matriculated, right? Last episode, and the artist was, I think his name's Peter Chung. He did Eon Flux, which, man, don't even get me started on that and Liquid TV. Throwback stuff. But yeah, really good artist. And at the end of that episode, the female character, she knows the deal, right? But when the machine tries to save her by plugging her into the system, she'd rather die than be in the system with the machine. So, the machine was trying to save her life, but even being aware of being in the simulation, she wanted no parts of it. So I think, when you ask if someone could survive the unplugging, again, it's a case-by-case basis. It's do you want to deal with reality? Is the reality too harsh for that person's psyche? The truth can be harsh, man. So I think that's really what it comes down to is is that person in that 1% of red pill mentality, or are they that 99% blue pill that just wants to go along and play by the rules, if you will. What's this next comment? Yes. Okay. So it says, it doesn't have to be necessarily an alien or another species or the creation of the universe. You can more or less identify ideologies and cultures as different simulations. I totally agree. I think a lot of what helps me kind of get by is just this kind of idea that, you can't all be all right and you can't all be all wrong. And like, we're like all over the world. I mean, that's another thing that I've always liked about the Matrix Online. And, it's not only the Matrix Online, but a lot of online gaming, a lot of online experience. We're hanging out, we're interacting with people all over the world. And like, we all come from different cultures and different belief systems, but we don't have to agree on everything. We can be from like Xenu and Scientology aliens and, be of God and be of these different beliefs and backgrounds and still, hang out and play the same game and laugh and have a good time. And, I think Ken Wilber And that's another thing with this free time. I've been meaning to read more of his books, but he did the commentary with Dr. West that you can check out on the channel. I've got the audio up. They did the Ultimate Collection, the commentary for the Matrix trilogy. But yeah, a lot of his work goes into just the whole integral and this kind of like idea of like, universal acceptance and, waking up, yes, but then, growing up in spirituality. So yeah, exactly. We're all living different lives and having different experiences, and those experiences shape who we are. But our beliefs don't have to be the same in order for us to, work together, be kind and friendly to one another. And ultimately, I do believe that as that number grows of people who really embrace that, the world's going to change. I mean, that's just my belief, and not everybody believes that, but I think that's where we're headed. I think that is the danger. When the architect talks about the escalating probability of disaster, I believe that's the danger that the powers that be now face, is that it doesn't have to be a majority switch. I feel like just enough of us have to buy in, and, their psychopathic rule will come to an end. Okay, Elusive Truth says he's going to do a video on it when he gets done with the virus and elites and adrenochrome. Yes, please do. I really, 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 I support all that, to be honest with you. What's funny is that was, like, I guess, like a background motivation behind the channel, because I feel like the Matrix as a trilogy, a media, an art form, for those of us who like really watch it and go deeper into the rabbit hole, I feel like it like really unlocks parts of us individually. And when you take that step and then you do your own research, you start to figure things out on your own. I mean, that's what I always liked about it, is this kind of journey of Neo deconstructing his beliefs and then reconstructing them with the new concrete information, because I think that that's like a healthy process. And sometimes you'll deconstruct something and put it back together and you'll believe in it even more, and sometimes you'll deconstruct something and say, man, this doesn't even fit. Like, I don't even know how I believed in that in the first place. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that is one of the healthiest journeys. And I'm not just talking about like religious stuff, I'm not just talking about political stuff. Like, if you notice, I try not to talk politics at all, because I just don't really buy into it. But yeah, I mean, it could be drinking coffee, like, it's something that you can apply to all kinds of things that are regularities in your life. And, that's how we clean house. That's how we continue to improve. I mean, for me, I always want to be in a place where I feel like there is something I can make better. Self-improvement is like this ongoing thing. I don't feel like there's an end game to that. I feel like you can grow until the day you die, and hopefully even beyond that, man. Like, so that's just where the Matrix kind of took me. That was kind of the whole yellow pill thing. I mean, I did a whole video on that, but yeah, that's what it means to me, is just this desire, this willingness to do that research and reevaluate things and pull them apart. And, when you're looking at the elites, and I think a lot of things are being exposed. I think a lot of us can agree that children should be protected. And, I think that's an issue that is universal, and that, people can come together on. And I think that threatens a lot of those elites and people in power positions in certain establishments. So, yeah, man, there's all kinds of stuff out there that I think, especially now, I mean, that's one of the things I've been noticing about this situation. Is like, it's this big moment for humanity. It's like this opportunity. We're either going to bend at the knee to corruption or rise together as a people. Like, there's not really going to be much wiggle room coming out of this thing. So, I'm staying hopeful. I'm looking forward to more people agreeing on, staying alive, and this idea that there's enough in the world for everybody. Like, it doesn't have to be a handful of people making the decisions for everybody, because we see that doesn't work. Like, people are dying that didn't have to die, and I know we can do better. So it's gonna be interesting. I know that the world's gonna change. There's no denying that. We're gonna see how, though. That's gonna be the interesting part. But that's one of the things that I've liked about having these MXO Emu parties, because for me it's been like this great distraction. Like, I've just been busy all week getting ready for it, and it's a silly thing. It's just a game, but for me it's been helping me stay away from the fear mongering and just the constant bombardment. I get it. It's a serious situation. Like, we're out here trying to stay safe, trying to stay alive, trying not to infect other people. And even now, I'm trying not to talk about it. So if anybody has a subject change, you go ahead and hook me up. But yeah, like I said, these parties have really been a light for me, something to do at the end of the week. Jump into the Matrix, listen to some music, and just keep on staying positive, man. Like, having a good time, laughing with you guys, throwing out animation codes and transforming into helicopters and taxis. That was wild. Who was there when the helicopter was in the club? Like, I did not see that one coming. But Zach Zebo, what's up, man? Oh, thank you. No, man, I appreciate that. I really, really appreciate that, dude. Totally appreciate that. And like, I appreciate all you guys for being here. You guys are really what motivates me. As long as I know somebody's out there listening, I want to keep pushing and keep putting stuff out there. And that's just been my thing, is having one place where you guys can trust your Matrix content. And that was another thing, man. Like, we were talking about the whole film theorist thing, and like, I'd see, right, because so this time last year was the 20th anniversary. That was big. That was big for this channel, because, or the creation or the genesis of this channel, because there was like this YouTube trend. And I know the algorithm, I like YouTube. The YouTube algorithm, I like Matrix. So you click one Matrix video and it's going to suggest 20. So of course I watched all 20. But there was just like this lack of Matrix passion in these videos. I'm like, how is this guy talking about the Matrix for 15, 20 minutes, and you can tell he didn't even really like it, or he didn't get past the first one, or, and I was like, no, man, this ain't cool. We need people who love the Matrix talking about the Matrix. That's what I need to see. So I wanted to not just sit in my corner and complain, and like get up and do something and change that. So where do you find the party? Okay, I think there's a delay between the audio and the chat, but in both videos, in the description box, there's a link to Vesuvius's installation video. That's like the best step-by-step video. But if you go to mxoemu.info, that's where you download the client. Yeah, and you gotta have a PC. So if you don't have a PC, actually, right, I have heard that if you rock Boot Camp with Mac, you can run it on a Mac, but like, it doesn't work on tablets or anything like that. Like, it has to be a computer. Yeah, man, I was bummed out about the production being halted. I mean, for starters, it put the brakes on my content, because a lot of my content was reporting the different stuff, the leaks and all the news about the production. So when they put the brakes on that, I'm like, oh man, what am I gonna do now? So that's why, those parties have been really, really great for me. Okay, so you can bend the spoon now. Okay, definitely send pics. I'm definitely going to want to promote that and push that on my channel. Thanks. One of the biggest strategies besides death is they halted I was talking about that. They halted the filming. So yeah, man, it's really kind of like put a damper on how things were going here, because I was checking. I mean, I still do check every day to see if there's any news or information to share with you guys. But yeah, man, with this, we're just kind of waiting for them to get things back going. Now, last I looked, everybody was fired in Germany, which was uncool. So I don't know that, it's like a real wild card. I don't know if this is something that when they can get back to filming, they're just going to go back to Studio Babelsberg in Germany and no beef, or if they like need a new location now. I really don't know the real details of that. And that was another thing I noticed with that story too. When that story came out, I saw it in German. I hit Google Translate, and the energy of the German reporting was way different than the Variety article and the IndieWire article that came out several hours later. So I went with the German article because I like to go with, whoever reported it first. But yeah, man, the energy in that German article was like, yeah, it's not looking good out here. Like, basically, it seemed like a little bit of finger pointing in terms of the studios, Warner and Sony. Because another movie I think it's called Uncharted, a Sony movie got canceled too. Or, excuse me, put on hold. I don't want to say canceled because canceled makes it sound like the movie's not coming out. And I don't think that's how it's going to play. But, I'm out of work. I can't work. Entertainment industry, for the most part, is on hold. Coachella got canceled. South by Southwest got canceled. Big name artists, millions of dollars are on the table, gone right now. So it's not just the movies, but yeah, when it happened, I'm looking at this Germany situation like, man, these guys are pissed. And now there's these guys, they banded together, they got a lawsuit, and we'll see. I don't know if they can just settle it out of court. Is it no love lost? Do we just go back to Germany when the dust settles on the pandemic? Or, are they going to shoot this thing in America now? Are they going to go back to Australia? Like, I have no idea how that part of it's going to play out. I'm just checking in with the comments here. Of course, I have all of the Matrix comics. In fact, I have the 20th anniversary edition, the hardcover. I did have the 2 previous paperbacks, but the hardcover, the 20th anniversary edition, has all of the comics that are in both paperbacks and the couple that were on the website that no longer exists, that never got put to paperback. And one of them is one of my favorites, a Paul Chadwick one. And you guys who played the game know Chadwick was the artist who did the story for the game in the beginning before Rarebit took over the storylines. But yeah, Let It All Fall Down, that's one of my favorite Matrix Online comics, Matrix comics done by Paul Chadwick. I do plan on doing like some type of video or review. I'm not sure. I haven't really figured out exactly how I wanted to do it yet. And since it's one of my favorites, that's why I haven't been in like a rush to put that one out. And, I've also been trying to be patient in terms of, hitting that 1K subscriber mark before I get into the real juicy, unique stuff that no one else is really kind of discussing online here. But yeah, there's a link to that, to the 20th anniversary edition in the description box for anybody who wants it. Just because, like, if you are a hardcore Matrix fan, this hardcover is the good stuff. It's the juice. It's like, like I said, it's got all of them. So you're not missing a step with this thing. I'm really glad I bought it. I didn't think to do an unboxing video. I always forget about those. But I did recently order. Somebody in the emulator Discord shared that Jacked In magazine. There was like one Matrix Online magazine edition, and I checked in with my roommate. I was like, yo, this looks familiar. Did you have this? And he's like, dude, I didn't have it. So I went ahead and ordered my own. So I'm going to have that coming, with everything going on. It might not get here till damn near May, but I ordered it. I'm going to check it out and definitely share its contents with you guys here when it gets here. I'm excited for that. Let me get back in these comments real quick. No, missions on the emulator are not a thing yet. I can't, I don't know enough about the production or, coding side of things to even give you a projection. I know that it's been a 10-year-long project. So, the fact that we have the stuff that we have right now, I'm grateful for. But, yeah, it's interesting because, like, I remember when my roommate first told me, like, I think it's called MXO Source. I don't really know because I didn't try it. But, like, right after the game went down, an emulator went up. And my old roommate told me about it. And I never checked it out. But apparently, like, it crashed and, like, it was not the the meat and potatoes there. But as far as what we've got to work with, the MX Emu is it, man. That's the most stable. That's where everything is going on. So definitely, come through to the parties if you haven't already, because that's what it's about now. Like you said, there's no missions, there's no PvP, so it's pretty much completely social. And if you were never in it before, the exploring might be cool for you, because there is a lot of environment to explore, the constructs and everything like that. But also what I noticed is that a lot of the people from the MXO Emu are like really diehard Matrix fans. So like a lot of times there's just a lot of good information between the minds. If you're into the lore, if you're into stuff like that, like this crowd, the MXO Emu crowd is like the most knowledgeable Matrix crowd out there. Like forget Reddit. Like I'm serious. Everybody who I run into that has been talking about stuff on the Matrix, when they're coming from the Discord Emu, that group, they know what they're talking about more than any other space, single space that I've run into. I mean, that's just what it is. And that's one of the reasons why, if you look in my descriptions, there's always a link to the Emu, because to me, like, it's the best source for Matrix fans at that level to kind of congregate. Yeah, man. I mean, and that's another thing too. Like, I've always kind of wanted to just tap into that energy and like crew up, and because like for me, it's been like, all right, you got Star Wars. They've got like this huge comic. Well, they've got their own thing, right? And Star Trek, they were like the godfathers of that kind of energy, right? And like I said, Comic-Con, and like this cosplay, and like they've got their like whole big event space. And I'm like, why does the Matrix not have that type of thing going on? Like, the most popular answer that I get is that a lot of people didn't like the second and third film. Okay, whatever. But especially now that it's come back around in pop culture with this simulation theory thing. I mean, look around. This was another reason why I went into this channel, is because I see all these crazy references to the Matrix. Like stuff that doesn't even have anything to do with the Matrix. So, yeah, I wanted to like have a place where like people who actually like watch the Matrix and aren't just using it because it's like a lit term are able to get together. Hold on, let me get back in these comments here. You guys are getting the comment section popping, so I want to make sure I address everybody. Right, yeah, that's what I was just saying. Yeah, it seems like nobody really has much passion about the Matrix these days. I always say it's a mind-bending science fiction thriller that we solve our issues with kung fu. Yes. Yeah, I always loved the martial arts element. I mean, I was a big Bruce Lee fan. Like Bruce Lee was like my idol. When you go back and say, okay, well, who was your idol? Wasn't a basketball player, wasn't a football player, it was Bruce Lee. Like, and actually, a few years ago, I got an opportunity. I was out in Seattle, working on a project with an artist, and she lived out in Seattle, and I actually got to visit the gravesite of Brandon and Bruce Lee, and like, let me tell you, like, the energy was palpable. Like, it was real out there. Like, I was glad I took the time to stop by, and what was cool about it was like, I think I went on a weekend, but like you could tell, like, people leave flowers and stuff, but like when other people came, like there was just this silent respect. Like, people would give the person in front of them like their alone time with them, and hang out in the background and then wait for you to finish, and then the next group would come and pay their respect. It was just, I don't know, like I said, it was just this very tangible energy in the air. And yeah, so that was a really cool experience. I have heard the story that originally the part of Neo was supposed to be for Brandon Lee. I have heard that story. Stories like that, I don't know if it's true. I mean, I don't have any documented proof of that, but I have heard that rumor. because the Wachowskis were working on the script for a really long time. I do remember when The Crow happened, and I actually because my mother worked in theater, so I met Tony Todd. He played the Candyman, and he was in The Crow, and then Lawrence, the other actor, another actor that was in The Crow, he had like I don't know if it was like a editor's copy or it was like a bootleg copy before the movie came out, because the hype was all around him dying in the production of that film, and like you could tell like the actors were definitely impacted by that experience. Like it was definitely like a traumatic experience for them. So that was a big deal, but like imagine how different The Matrix would have been if it was played by Brandon Lee instead of Keanu Reeves. Like that's like a mind blower right there. Yeah, most of the stuff got delayed from education to entertainment. Yeah, it's not just the entertainment industry. That's definitely fair. Like a lot of people are impacted by this. I mean, that's what I was saying. The world is definitely going to be different when we come out of this thing. It's going to be very, very interesting to see, what changes, how this mess is going to get cleaned up. But yeah, man, that hardcover, I'm going to recommend that 20th Matrix edition comic to any and everyone who's curious. Like, well worth it. Well worth it. I was not. As soon as I opened up the box and saw how crispy this hardcover image is, dude, like it's got the matte finish and then the glossy pod, man, I was like, oh, this is gorgeous. They didn't spare any expense, so get back in these comments just to get people to watch it, but really it's so much more than that. Mind, body, spirit, very relevant to me in really life, and a thing I can work on every day. Mental health, physical health, and spiritual. Or spirit, excuse me. Andre says, it's crazy that The Matrix Online, of all places, may actually be important for a big budget movie. Damn. I love it. Okay, Zach says, I never checked out The Matrix Online or comics as a kid or a teen. As an adult, I'm seriously regretting it. That's why all this content here is really appreciated. No, and dude, keep soaking it up. I mean, thank you for checking it out, because what you just said is a major motivation of why I keep doing what I'm doing, because there was a lot of content to soak up, and that's why I ordered that Jacked in the Matrix, because that was one that slipped through the cracks. Up until I saw that the other day, I thought that I had experienced all of it the first time around, and that was one thing, one piece of tangible Matrix media that I actually didn't get to experience the first time around. So, that's one thing that's crazy about the Matrix. There's Easter eggs everywhere, man. Like, it's been 20 years, and I still am getting something that I never knew was out there from the Matrix media. So, yeah, that's why I'm glad you're here. You're who I want to share this stuff with. I want the people who want the information to get the information, and I want you guys to get it from someone who loves it as much as you do. Because like I said, I saw all these videos this time last year, talking about the Matrix, and it was clearly written by people who did not have a passion for it. I mean, some people like it, and don't get me wrong, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Not everybody's going to love it. Some people love the first one and don't like the second and third one. I get that. That's just what it is. But at the same time, like, I feel like when you do dive all the way in, you're going to notice things, a lot of things that other people say are confusing aren't going to be confusing to you, So, and that's one thing why I preach that whole yellow pill approach. You got to dig sometimes. You've got to put in a little extra work to get to the truth. And that's been part of the journey for this kind of like Matrix experience for me is, wanting to find more. And man, I found this thing the other day. It was like, I guess, on the Warner site, the one that's no longer there, the Matrix one where I think it was like whatisthematrix.com. That's where they had like the comics originally and stuff, right? So at the time I was on this site, but I wasn't on the site because when this conversation happened, it was between the first film and 2 and 3. So somewhere on the site, they had like a live chat with the Wachowskis and fans. And there's all kinds of juicy stuff in there. Them just kind of answering questions. But again, this is something that I didn't get to experience the first time. So, for example, what was funny was how validating it was for me when I read them say that, before Neo comes in and interrupts Cypher, that's what Cypher was doing. He was, automating his entrance into the Matrix to meet with Agent Smith. Now, for some people, this has been a quote unquote plot hole or this huge debate for years. Now, I addressed it, I believe, in like the 10, or rather the Matrix Makes Sense video here on this channel, because in the Enter the Matrix video game, you've got them showing Ghost and Trinity, going in and out of the construct without an operator. So that kind of proves that you can do this without, a second person, which is kind of like people's beef about that scene, right? But that's what I'm saying. Like, in between, before the second Matrix movie even came out, the Wachowskis addressed it in this live chat. So it's like, man, there's like little nuggets just hidden in corners of the internet, and I'm still digging. 20 years later, I'm still finding Matrix information that I didn't get the first time around. Yeah, you said that wish it was free to play somehow. Emu is nice for the nostalgia of the scenery, but I long for how it was. Yeah, of course. I mean, again, like I said, I was on Vector Hostile. The threat of violence, the threat of being shot at, the ability to, have action whenever people were on, which was all the time, was great. I miss it. I miss the community. But I am holding out hope. I'm hoping that, if the Matrix 4 has some serious success, that, it's possible. Everything is possible, especially if they're making money. What I really... the only thing I'm afraid of, I'm going to knock on wood as I say this, in fact, I probably even shouldn't say it, what I don't want is them to just like make it this mobile game and it be like this total cheese version. No, I want them to go full, interactive environment. It doesn't have to be, I mean, I would expect it to be different from what we had before, because what we had before was, 15 years ago. But that being said, look at how ahead of its time it was, so imagine what kind of stuff they can do now with the gaming engines now and the technology now. I would love. I mean, dude, if so that's going to be my pack with you guys here now. If they come up with a new Matrix game, a Matrix Online game, we have to start a faction. We have to have the earliest, biggest, baddest, hardcore Matrix faction before the game even launches. Like, we got to be ready, crewed up, ready to go. And that's like my deal with you guys here. I want to reach out to all you guys. I want to hit you guys up in your comments and be like, okay, the game's out, so let's form our faction. This is one of my 6th grade classes really dig the Matrix. Yeah, man, what was it? Yeah, my computer lab, I installed Doom. I didn't install Matrix. I installed Doom because it was, it was like really easy to get it in there. But yeah, I installed Doom on all my PCs in class so that no matter what computer I was sitting at, I could play Doom. That was just the thing I did. Oh, but now you can't stop them. They love it so much. You brought them to the bottom of the rabbit hole, did you? Corrupting young minds. I love it. Yeah, the moment in the dojo is a great moment. Rest in peace, Brandon and Bruce Lee. Absolutely. And that, like I said, that influence in the Matrix, the martial arts, I was already into martial arts. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I had such a passion for the Matrix, because it was cyberpunk, it was martial arts, it was all of these different things, these philosophical questions that I was asking at that time before I saw the movie, addressed in the movie, was just mind-blowing. I mean, again, that you are not alone. I mean, it made me feel not alone. It made me feel like, okay, maybe I'm not crazy. Maybe, other people appreciate these things at the level that I do. And, there was a comfort in that. And that was one of the comforts of the Matrix Online community, was just this, like, ability to connect with people who had all these kind of similar points of relations, these similar things in common in terms of our entertainment tastes. And, we were all gamers. Most of us like martial arts. There's I guess there's a split on the music, but for the most part, I feel like a lot of us would like electronic music to at least some degree. I mean, there was some influence of that there. But yeah, man, this playlist that I got going is pretty sweet. I'm actually excited to listen to this on Saturday. oh, boom, problem solved. That always made sense to me because the ghost thing. But like to hear the Wachowski said that, yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. When I saw it, I'm like, yes, so validating. Oh man. Yeah, man. I'm saying we're gonna start this faction. If they start a game, man, we're doing this thing, man. It's gonna be nice. I mean, and there's a lot of people on Discord who like are clearly like coders and like know all that stuff. Like I don't know that life at all. Like I'm not a real life hacker by any stretch of the imagination. But we did have a hacker in our faction in the original Matrix Online. His in-game name was Keel, and he was like the dude in our faction that had like like his main account on one computer and then his alt on a laptop and then like another alt on a laptop. So he was really like 3 players in our clan. But yeah, no, he knew all the hacks. He knew all the good glitches. I have a drawing of Morpheus from my student. We did a parody of this low-cost Matrix video. I would love to see that, by the way. And now they think I'm an agent because I kept wearing blazers to work. That's great. It has nothing to do with Agent Pace's influence, I imagine. Sarcasm, by the way. Every time I put on my sunglasses, I always hear Rage Against the Machine in my head. Yeah, no. I definitely rock Rage. Now, I will say, when you're going to bring up Rage, anytime you even say the name, even though Killing in the Name of is my favorite Rage Against the Machine song, even when you say the name, I'm still going to first hear Guerrilla Radio because of Tony Hawk. Like, it just, I guess I just put in so many hours in that game that, like, that's just where, if you say Rage, that's the first thing that pops in my head. But, yeah, the Matrix, it's ultimately the Matrix's fault. So I can blame the Matrix for a lot of things. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to say, nope, not my fault. Blame the Matrix. Man, I've been talking for over an hour. This is crazy. I did not think I was going to be able to talk this long. Like I said, this is totally a new experience for me. But I do appreciate you guys for chatting it up with me in the chat here, giving me some conversation, letting me test this thing out. I'm really glad it's working. I'm glad I didn't crash. Woohoo! Small victories. The image on the screen is the Project Matriculated stuff, and like I said, we kind of just had to put the brakes on that event because we don't know when the movie's coming out anymore. Now, I mean, I kind of expected there to maybe be a date change, but because of the whole John Wick 4 thing, and, you know, I did the video on that talking about how I thought that was a play by Warner to keep Keanu from doing any, like, Marvel stuff. You know, if they keep his schedule so busy, Keanu's happy because he's paid, he's working, and, you know, they keep their, you know, star player away from the MCU, you know. Hey, the director, what's up, bro? Good to see you here. Shout out to the director. He did a review on the Keanu Reeves, Zach Galifianakis Between Two Ferns parody that Comic Realm and I collabed on, the Between Two Batteries video. Definitely appreciate the director's channel. He's got some good reviews over there, reactions to different trailers and stuff like that, like good movie reaction content. I always like his opinion on stuff, and like we got like a similar interest in shows and stuff, so that's always been cool when you like connect with people that have that point of interest. Again, like I was saying with the Matrix Online, I felt a lot of that in that community. Like it would just bring us together, you know, people from all over the world who just had these entertainment points of relations. So that was always fun. Oh my God, bro, nostalgia. Tony Hawk Pro Skater, baby, yup. Hours and hours and hours. I can't even count how many hours I played that game. I look like a midget. I don't think I could be Pace. I mean, you know, I don't know that she's necessarily that tall. You know that, and you know, again, you're talking about an RSI in the Matrix, so you know you can redesign. Hey, Comic Realm, I just shouted you out. Ooh, whoa, that is weird. Were you here the whole time, dude? Because if I just said your name and you just popped up, I'm gonna get some type of creepy creepy agent vibe or something. I don't know. Are you working for them agents, bro? No, I'm kidding. And I already said I'm already cool with the agents, so I'm not seriously paranoid about that. But yeah, man, it's nice to see you guys in here. I appreciate you guys for popping in, checking out my first live stream. This is the first live. Oh man, yeah, Comical Realm has the 2 AI series. I definitely recommend people check that out. It is balls to the walls hilarious, and he just checked in as I shouted out his channel before, so that's creepy cool. Again, I did a collaborative video with Comical Realm, and then the director reviewed it on his channel, so it was like this 3-way YouTube collab situation, and now everybody's here, which is pretty awesome to me. I appreciate everybody who's here. It's the little things, it's the small victories. You know, I live for moments like this. The Deja Vu Cat is in the building right now. I'm having all types of the Matrix is repairing itself vibes going on here. But yeah, check out that 2 AI series, because, like I said, I've been trying not to just talk about the situation, but I felt like it was a really good take on the situation before stuff blew up here. So I think it aged really, really well. I think it's, funny and educational in that way. So, definitely check that out if you haven't seen it already. And our collab, Between Two Batteries, because if you like Keanu Reeves or Zach Galifianakis, it's just the audio from the actual Between Two Ferns with the, Matrix theme on top of it. But Comical Realm really knows what he's doing with that 3D art. I think it came out better than I imagined. It was kind of like a dream come true, or a vision come true in that regard. So big ups to Comical Realm for making that happen, making that possible, making that a reality, making that, an idea in my head that I got to share with you guys in the real world. Like, stuff like that. That's, for me, that's what makes it special, as human beings. Like, how we can not only be creative, but express that creativity, and especially when it requires teamwork. I mean, that was one of those Wachowski comments that I read in that chat. They were, like I said, it was like it looked to be a commentary, like they were watching the movie and chatting with fans as they were watching the movie. So it wasn't a DVD commentary, but their version of a commentary. And one thing they said is that they don't really like the creds. They don't like taking all the credit, which I didn't know, because it's like anything else, sports. The quarterback, the coach, they get all the credit, they get all the shine. But they said they feel as though movies especially are a collaborative effort. And that, the Matrix is their baby, but it's, a lot of people's baby. A lot of people put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that thing. So, that's, to me, I guess one of the reasons why I'm such a huge movie fan. And I mean, theater is a lot of teamwork. I mean, even somebody's album is a lot of teamwork, like musically, right? But with movies, I mean, there's just a lot of hands in the cookie jar and a lot of creative expression coming together, working together. And, to me, that's what makes us special, as a species, just the ability to express things in that way, and not just limited to entertainment. You can talk about more important things like medical science and things like that, but that's the overall flavor. The idea is that we communicate and then we create together. I think that's awesome. He said the CV got him bench watching Gotham. I don't think I'm not sure if I've seen the last season of that, but I did enjoy the first couple. Oh, I missed this. Mayor Essential, become tall. Bonus points if you get the DBH ref here. Oh, Comical Realm says thanks for the kind words, bro. Love hearing stuff like this, man. Yeah, no, thank you, dude. You've done a lot to help out things here. In fact, hold on, I forgot. The image on screen right now, the Project Matriculated image, is Comical Realm's work. This is what this guy does. He is super sweet with the 3D rendering. His 3D art is the bomb. It's the bee's knees. It's all those good things. I mean, like I said, thank you so much. You have really, really helped with the visuals on this channel. Now, the image on the left, the Project Matriculated flyer, that was done by Vesuvius. So for you guys from the Matrix Online emulator, you guys know, everybody knows Vesuvius. He did that. He's been helping me with organizing that event. But again, we're kind of on hold because we don't know when the date's going to be. So waiting for a new date. In the meantime, between the time, the venue is so sweet and they're like so good with us about everything. I mean, even before everything hit, I kind of knew that it was possible that the date would move, so I gave them a heads up. And excuse me. Yeah, they were real flexible with everything we were trying to do there. But yeah, once everything hit, it was like, all right, now we really got to wait. And that was the other thing too. That's why it was important to do stuff on Thursday, because they're really good on Thursday. So we really want to get to see the film, like the early release, the night before. A lot of theaters do that. Now, what was interesting when I was talking to the theater, I thought that it was like a midnight thing, but it turns out like it's not like that at all. Like he was the guy at the theater was like, yeah, they usually show it at 8 o'clock. So, I'm working on the times. I don't know how specifically that's going to play. Like if we're going to do the party first and then go see the movie, or watch the movie first and then have the party as an after party. But again, once they iron out the date talk, either reconfirming the May 21st or saying it's a new date, then I'll get back into the times and stuff with the movie theater. Yeah, man, a lot does go into making a movie, and that's a thing, even reading the credits. I mean, you see how long the credits are. I mean, everybody played their role, so there's a lot of people, a lot of different ideas, especially with a movie like The Matrix. And when I read that Wachowski comment, it kind of like gave me comfort in not only them not just taking all the credit, but more so because there's like so much controversy over the construction of the Matrix, and I've like always felt like there's no way two people just came up with all that. There's just too many Easter eggs. There's just too many. It's clearly a collaborative effort. It clearly pulls from different theologies and different philosophers and different anime and different martial arts technique, and you know what I mean? Just different. Like one analogy I always use is like this. I don't know if you guys are familiar with DJ Girl Talk, but for those of you who aren't, this was like this DJ that would string together all these different samples. There'd be like 12 different samples in one record. And like that to me is what The Matrix was. It was like the cinema version of a DJ Girl Talk song. So yeah, I mean, even more than 12. I mean, there's more than 12 influences in The Matrix. I mean, every time I turn around, I see something new. So yeah, I can't wait for the official trailer for that too. Like, I've seen a bunch of fan-made trailers and stuff, which is always funny to me. But there's a couple really good ones. But I can't wait for the real trailer to get some clues to see what's really going on here. See who they're putting in front of the trailer. Are we going to see the main antagonist, or are we going to see the main protagonist not named Neo? Because there's a lot of speculation that Neo's in it, but there's going to be either a Neo-like character or a new one or something along those lines. So we'll see if any of that stuff kind of plays out. Yeah, Comical Realm. I think I tapped out when you did with Gotham. I think I checked out around season 3. And I can't tell you where they are now. I'd have to do the math, but I think I'm right there with you. Great question. Yeah, man. I wonder if the new Matrix is going to have some new effects, because they are the ones that introduced green screen. Well, I don't know if they were the first to have the green screen, but they were definitely the first to have the bullet time effect with that. So, yeah, and that was revolutionary. Like, what's his name? John Gaeta, and even the Wachowskis themselves say, like, they were lucky to be able to, find the guy who could do it, who could execute. But that's going to be a big question mark. Are they going to push the limits of technology, to new heights and things we haven't seen before, or, have that one new camera trick that everybody's trying to duplicate and emulate? And what's funny is, because you brought up the green screen thing, I believe, and I could be wrong about this, but in the movie Assassins, which they just wrote, okay, the Wachowskis didn't have any direction or any type of credit like that. They just wrote the script, and it was their first Hollywood script to be produced as a movie. And in fact, there was a beef. Like, the studio brought in other writers to finish it or change the ending or something like that, and the Wachowskis like hate that movie. Like they were pissed that all that happened. But in that movie, there's like a split screen shot where you have Sylvester Stallone and Antonio Banderas opposite each other. I can't remember if they're on the other side of the wall or on the phone, or they might use it for like more than one shot. But at the time, like that was like this great, cool cinematography trick, like this camera trick that nobody was doing it that way, and like looks super clear compared to how it was done in the past. At the time it's like 93, 94. So at the time it was a big deal. Nobody cares now, but yeah, they definitely, or rather, I would hope that we're going to get some type of special effects treat in the Matrix 4, something that we haven't seen before. Now, of course, the little bit of stuff that we got from the San Francisco footage, there's not, there's so little leaked. I mean, well, I don't want to say little leaked. I made whole compilation videos off the Twitter leaks, but you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't enough to really make an assumption as to whether or not any new special effects will be used in any of those action scenes. But they were tearing the streets of San Francisco up, let me tell you. They were setting that thing on fire. So there's definitely going to be action in this thing. I mean, that goes without saying. Kayasuka says, "Cool life itself could perhaps be a simulation." Okay, so we did the simulation discussion a little earlier. I don't know if on live you can rewind. I don't know. We were probably maybe like 20 minutes in when we were talking about that. I can't believe that it's almost an hour and a half and I'm still running my mouth here. This was not what I expected. So thank you guys. Thank everyone who came into the room, because I didn't know if anybody was gonna come. But this is my first live stream. Checking out the hardware, making sure everything is working, making sure my computer doesn't crash, which it hasn't, thank God. Knocking on wood there. I don't want any technical difficulties. But yeah, things have been going pretty good. I do want to thank you guys for being the witnesses to the first live here on the NeoMatrixology YouTube channel. I don't know how much longer I can go without running to the bathroom. This is not something that I'm used to doing at all here. But an hour and a half, I think, is a pretty good first run. And yeah, I've been just trying to, stay positive throughout this situation and be productive. And, when I first started this channel, I wasn't sure if I was ever going to go live. Like I said, there were, I don't want to say technical issues, but just like a lack of experience. Like I just had never done it before. I hadn't installed the software. I didn't know what the ins and outs were. I didn't think it was super hard because, damn near every channel has a live, right? But, I know I didn't want to do it for my phone. Some of you know I have reasons why I don't want to get too personal with my personal information in terms of like, weird stuff happening behind the scenes with different videos that I've done already to this point. I don't want to go too far into that. But yeah, again, the image that's up right now is one that Comical Realm made. Oh, he got a comment here. Hold on. Yeah, I think there's also a delay between when I talk and when the comments come to me. So sorry if I'm behind there. Like I said, it's all new to me. Comical Realm says, "Do you think we'll be getting multiple Matrix movies, or is it going to be just the one Matrix 4? Okay. Great question, by the way. So my thought is this, especially after Dark Fate flopped the way that it did. Now, I've heard people say that they like Dark Fate. I don't think they're the majority, but the numbers, that movie tanked. So, when it comes to Matrix 4, I think it's all going to be based on success, man. I think if it is successful, we might see that Zach Penn script come into fruition. Like, I think they might use this as this kind of, okay, now we can kind of try to play catch up to the Star Wars model now. Now we can do all this merch and all these games and all these series and all these shows. But they got to make money, stupid money like they did with Revolutions and Reloaded. And if they do that, then we'll get more. And if it tanks the way Dark Fate did, then that's it. I've heard, different stories about the whole Zach Penn script and how Lana Wachowski got involved. They are definitely different scripts. I'm very sure about that because Zach Penn himself tweeted that. But, I've heard behind the scenes that, like, the Wachowskis were, Lana Wachowski was kind of like, what's the phrase? Almost like they twisted her arm a little bit to kind of come back, kind of like, If you don't want to do this, that's fine. We'll just do this Zach Penn script and leave you out of it. And, I don't know if that's true. These are like Twitter, Hollywood rumors. So, that's why I didn't do like a video on that kind of stuff because, it could just be hearsay. And, I don't like to put stuff out there that won't, print it as a source that you can go back and reference. But, yeah, so, with that said, if that's the case, then any future Matrix movie probably wouldn't be a Zach Penn thing, But if that's not true and the movie's successful, the way Zach Penn was tweeting it was like, he's got something that's very much in play. But Lana's thing is happening first. So again, if they make money with Lana's thing, I would not be surprised if immediately we hear them go into production with Zach Penn's script. For those who don't know, Zach Penn is the guy who did Ready for Player One. He wrote that. So, that's got some Matrix-y vibes, in terms of being inside the game and being inside the simulation. But, with that said, Tron is always going to be the Matrix beta to me, not the Paradise version of the Matrix the Architect was talking about even before that in the 80s. Okay, hold on one second. Sorry about that. My allergies were getting the best of me there. What did I miss here? So the director says, great show, great show, brother. Good day, my friends. The more live you do, the better it gets. Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I'm going to try to do more for sure. Now that we know that the hardware is working properly, I'm going to definitely, line up some live content, like I said, with this one, because it's like the first one, the test one. I'm probably not going to leave it up on the channel. I want to check out just in terms of what happens, like when I turn it off, does it like render or record, like, what all is entailed with that. So, okay, Zach says, part 1, has anyone ever noticed or thought of when Neo flies out of the exploding building, leaving the source and the circle of the one, he exits through complete white, being followed by fire. Part 2, the framing on the inside of the building seems to look like jail bars, which Neo also escapes transcends, possibly representing him leaving the ideals of heaven, religion, with being told what? Okay, so specific to the jail bars, I did talk about the whole prison industrial complex symbolism in I believe the solving the battery problem video. So that symbolism is definitely in the films. Like that's a very real thing. I think it's one of those subtexts that goes unnoticed or untalked about a lot. But like, first of all, when you talk about Easter eggs in the Matrix, like I said, with the whole collaborative effort thing, many layers that are there for a reason. I don't think that there's a whole lot of coincidence. Like when people pick up on stuff, yes, there are some things that people pick up on that weren't really there, but it's cool that you can pick up on it and it not mess things up, right? But most of it is there for those reasons. And yeah, like breaking free, yeah, that was a big moment towards that. Every other version before him chose the system and chose the concept that the prison industrial complex was the way to maximize life, or it was the right thing to do. It was the right choice up until that point. So yeah, I could see that being a thing. I didn't personally notice it myself, but you bringing it up, I'm not going to deny you of your claim by any stretch of the imagination. I definitely see it visually, and like I said, in terms of theme or aesthetics, it's there to be a part of that same subtext and that same underlying line. Oh right, yeah, Dark Fake, what a flop, yeah, for real. When I hear people say that they liked it, usually it's coming from someone who didn't see like the previous movies. They might have seen like 1 and 2 and then saw Dark Fate, or just the first one, or like didn't really pay attention to the rest of them. Like for me, it was just like this huge bait and switch. Like Cameron and like everybody's like, oh, we're gonna ignore 3 and 4 and 5. We're just gonna ignore that. And then I sit there and I watch it, and I'm like, all you did was merge 3, 4, and 5 together. Like I was pissed, dude. I was just mad. But Comic Realm says, good point. I doubt they want to make further movies if for some reason Matrix 4 tanks, but looks like we're in good hands. Yeah, man. So my concern is this. The hype is real, okay? You got the John Wick 4 is the Matrix crossover theories. People are going to go watch this movie. Like, that's going to happen. My concern is that just like with with Reloaded and Revolutions, but even more so now, because when Revolutions and Reloaded came out, like a lot of people don't realize or remember, like the Matrix was for like geeks at the time. Like, that's why I love Grandma's Boy, because that like embodies this great movie. Cracks me up to this day. But like that's like the perfect example. Like you were clowned for being in love with the Matrix at one point. So, when the Reloaded and Revolutions came out, people had this expectation for them to be as good or better than the original. And then when that didn't happen, or when they got lost in the shuffle or lost in the sauce of all the different things that they didn't see coming, or because those two are definitely not following the normal action movie formula for whatever reason that somebody didn't like it, right? They still made money. I've put those stats in videos. Like they were successes. People can say they didn't like them, but they were more successful than the first in terms of making money, right? But most people agree that the original Matrix film is something special. It's its own thing, right? So like I said, my concern with 4 is that all these people, I see them on Twitter all the time, like talking about how they want this thing to be better than the first. And I'm like, dude, that is an unrealistic expectation. You can't have that expectation. Like, how often does a sequel surpass the original? That's already a rare and short list right there. We talked about Terminator. Most people will agree that Terminator 2 is better than the first one. That's debatable, but either way, Aliens 2, you got this short list, and those are both Cameron films, which is always interesting. But, yeah, this doesn't happen often. And we're talking about number 2. This is Matrix 4. When you get that deep into a franchise, you cannot expect the sequels to outshine the original. It's just an unrealistic expectation. So in this, era today, with social media and, all that kind of stuff, that's my concern. My concern is that we go back to that kind of old Matrixy time where, oh, it wasn't as good as the original. That means it sucked, and I don't give credit to like Rotten Tomato reviews and all that stuff's payola to me anyway. But there could very easily be a buzz that it wasn't as good, even though it's going to make a stupid amount of money. It should. So that's my only concern. That's where I get worried. Is the studio going to be hesitant if the reviews don't reflect? But the money should be there, man. People should be in the theater for this thing. And then that's the other thing, I think it was the Keanu Reeves Day video, but somewhere I was like, yeah, it's got to be the video. We were talking about like the Matrix 4 and the John Wick 4 like sales numbers, and then they were talking about like the success of like Endgame. And that's the thing, like Marvel movies, more specifically, I think it was last year or the last 2 years, like Disney movies have like 80% of movie success right now. Like, in every other movie studio is fighting to get money in that 20%, which is funny because those numbers are a lot like how money is distributed among the elite in the country, right? Like the elite gets the first 80%, and like everybody else is fighting over the other 20%. So it's interesting, but yeah. But talking about the money dynamic, when you talk about the Matrix 4, okay, so Matrix 4 is not a Disney movie. It's not an MCU movie. So, it's not a guaranteed home run in terms of sales. I understand that. I definitely recognize that them not coming out of the gate hitting a home run is possible. But that's why I always said I don't think there's any way in hell that John Wick 4 and Matrix 4 are coming out on the same day. because they don't want the competition. I mean, not realistically. I definitely believe that that was a play. And I believe that that was a play that they had every intention of winning in terms of forcing John Wick to move its date, because the John Wick script wasn't even finished at the time. I would imagine that it's finished by now. I mean, if they haven't finished it by now, they weren't serious at all in terms of meeting that May 21st date. But yeah, no, it'll be interesting now with the delays to see how that lines up, because it was already tight for Keanu Reeves shooting Matrix 4 and John Wick 4, assuming they were both going to come out on the same day. So now you've got a 2-month delay before the Matrix is even done, and we don't even know when John Wick 4 is going to start shooting. So that's like, I'm really interested to see on how that plays out. But again, I think the original move from Warner here was to keep Keanu Reeves so busy that he can't say yes to a Marvel movie. And now with the pandemic and everything, you know, again, it's going to be a while before his schedule's even available to do an MCU movie. See, yeah, that's weird, because now I'm seeing all Zach's comments here. It says, to then also hell with the fire, and then the framing on the inside of the building represents the prison. No, I read that one already. I thought I read that one. No. Okay, it's different, yeah. He basically transcends everything in that moment, being told what to do or everyone dying. The fire, then the framing looking like prison bars and Matrix. No, didn't I read that? It's the first big step to freedom. You know, we agree there. Like I said, he's breaking free from the prison industrial complex. Yeah, it's weird, because before it had like the Grandma's Boy is a great flick comment above that, but now like it's in the middle, so that's something I gotta watch out for, getting lost in the comments here. Then Zach says, I think I am the only person who looks this deep at some scenes in The Matrix due to outside things like the Wachowskis' ideals and mine brought into the movie. But here I am, not alone. Matrix 4 is going to do everything Force Awakens should have. Think of it like that. Okay. They know how to pan out. They know how that panned out. Neo is going to be the Luke Skywalker we wanted. Good. I like that. That's cute. No, yeah, man. I mean, I brought up the Disney thing, and I'm not like, I don't hate it as much as like many people do. I don't want to say most, but like I know some people like really hated all of it, and I didn't really hate all of it, but there were definitely things that like frustrated the hell out of me about how things played out with that last set. And no, it's all good, man. Be passionate. No, we like the passion here. This is what we are here for, is for Matrix fans to be able to share their fandom and not be feeling like they have gone too far in their thoughts, because there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of things, there are a lot of layers to pick up on and symbolisms that you can discuss. And that's the beauty of this thing, man. It's 20 years later and we're still talking about things that are in the films, and that was by design. And that's why the Wachowskis don't outright define everything, so that we can have these conversations. And like I said, maybe some of those things there are things we just pick up on that weren't designed to be picked up on, but to me, that's part of the experience. I mean, this is truly a choose your own adventure. When you look at the trilogy and the media as a whole, you get to decide how far down the rabbit hole you want to go. That's one thing that I've always loved about this thing. And, you know, that's one thing that's you know, occasionally it happens in comments on my channel. It happens in comments on other videos that I post in, you know, Matrix videos. And it even happened to me in the game once. You know, sometimes people come at you with like this whole "you're wrong" energy, and no, you've got it wrong. And, you know, it's like, okay, dude, like you're entitled to your opinion, you know. I don't want, and I hope I don't come off as pushy. I know I can be like a Matrix snob sometimes. I don't mean to be, but, you know, we're human. Like, we're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, self-improvement is like this ongoing process, and I always want to try to get better and work on stuff like that. But I get it. There are times where I can be a little snooty with my Matrix, right? But again, I try my best not to give off that "you're wrong" energy. Like, to me, there's no proof of a right or wrong answer. So what's the point in debating, or rather, I mean, I like the debate, but to me, what's the point of it being I can't walk away from this until you say I'm right? Like, the hell, who's got time for that, man? Like, that's just not, to me, that's not what it's about. Like, to me, it's about you choosing what you want to get out of this trilogy. And for me, I took a lot of positive stuff out of it, and I want to share that. So you don't have to agree with all of my theories. You don't have to agree with all of the different symbolisms or subtext that I pick up on. But I just ask that, people be respectful. That's all that I want to happen here. So if you feel like, you've picked up on something, share it. Dudes, like, yeah, share stuff in the comments. Like, if you don't agree with me, that's cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, my only beef is when people come at you disrespectfully, when they come at you, like, in this, like, argumentative or, like, I don't want to say defensive, because, like, I'll defend my position, right? Like, if I believe something, or if I, I'll show you, though. I'll say, okay, well, I think this because this scene happened, or they say this in the dialogue, or this is what this means in the real world if you look up the definition. I always try to give you something to bounce it off of or refer to. I don't want to just say, okay, well, you clearly missed the metaphor because you didn't see it. That means you're wrong. Like, no, dude. Like, if you can't show me something, then, you're entitled to your opinion. You believe whatever you want. Like, that's just kind of, how I look at it. Okay. It says, I actually love Force Awakens, but when you look at it, they could have done more. They could have done way more and better. But, yo, thanks for staying live for so long. Nice during the self-quarantine. Thanks for replying to us. Yeah, no. I mean, you guys humble me, like, for real. It's always been a fun process in terms of interacting with everybody. And like I said, early in the channel, a lot of the videos were actually, like, comments and stuff people were requesting. So, you know what I mean? This channel has been driven by the audience and by the members engaging with me. So, yeah, about the Star Wars thing, for me, the biggest mistake was having a different director come in for the second one, because the second one just didn't make sense to me. Like, in terms of, like, it felt like, if we're going to say the newest ones or the Disney ones were 3, 1, 2, and 3 is when I say the second one. Like, it just felt out of place. Like, it felt like it just didn't mesh. Like, things were set up in the first one, and then the second one was just like this whole new energy, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. It was like, I don't want to say confusing, but there was just something there that was like I could just tell that it was made by somebody else's vision. Like, the visions didn't match. It wasn't a team effort. I felt like it was this, like, okay, we're gonna let you do your thing, and then let you do your thing over here separately in other rooms, and we don't ever want you to talk to each other. But I don't know, that's just the kind of, I guess, vibe that I got from it. I will say that the last one gave me closure. Like I said, love it or hate it. I know a lot of people hated it, but I'd rather it give me closure than not, because I definitely walked in there thinking that there was a chance I wasn't going to get the closure I was looking for, but I did get that, so I was happy about that. Everyone's top four favorite stories of all time, including Matrix. 1, 2, 3, shoot. That's, like, really hard for me, because I like a lot of different stuff. But since I did I did an interview with Cyberpunk Matrix. We follow each other on Twitter. I don't know when that's going to come out. In fact, I'm not sure if it's going to be like a YouTube thing or like a podcast, but we recorded it, like, over Discord, and he asked me some questions, right? And one question he asked me was, like, what was my favorite Cyberpunk influences, and, like, I wasn't prepared for it because I thought it was going to be, like, all Matrix questions. So I really hated my answers. I think I like kind of just sat on Terminator, but right, because we were talking about Blade Runner, and since that interview, I have went back and watched the original Blade Runner, which was really cool to see, like, with fresh eyes, because that's what I was telling him. When I saw it before, I was still, like, it was the 80s, like, I was really young. I probably shouldn't even been watching the movie, but yeah, looking back, what I would have loved to have said, since you said 4, and what I would have loved to have said in that interview that I forgot about in that moment was Johnny Mnemonic. Like, we're going to talk about Neo and the Matrix. I mean, Johnny Mnemonic was a role that, like, really set Keanu Reeves up for the Matrix, if you ask me. Like, it really put him in the space where he had the experience required. I know everybody has seen the Will Smith video, like where he's talking about how he could have been Neo and he turned it down for Wild Wild West, and I've read Brad Pitt turned it down, and I think I want to say, was it Sandra Bullock maybe? Like there's this whole list of actors who could have been Neo at one point, right? But I'm so glad that it worked out and ended up being Keanu Reeves because of the Johnny Mnemonic role. I mean, he's literally downloading information to his mind. Like, it doesn't get any more close to home than that. And like I said, I'll always call Tron the original Matrix. So you can go ahead and throw Legacy on that list if you want, for the sake of this cyberpunk conversation, right? And that was actually Disney. That's always been Disney. But in terms of this conversation, it didn't feel like Disney. It was totally this like Asimov kind of cyberpunk science fiction thing. I mean, I know we were talking about it in the interview because I used to read a lot of Asimov. And yeah, technically that's just science fiction. But to me, like, those guys, they laid the groundwork for cyberpunk because, at the time he was writing stuff, like, only scientists were writing about that stuff. Like, nobody really knew about it like that, then the comic books exploded and you had that whole wave. But so what I give you so far, I said Johnny Mnemonic, Tron Legacy. I mean, if you're going to count Matrix, that can count. Like I said Terminator in the interview. So that would like meet the 4 threshold there, if you want. We talked about Bruce Lee earlier, so Enter the Dragon was always one of my favorite movies. It will always be one of my favorite movies. The original Crow with Brandon Lee will always be one of my favorite movies. Zach says, "No, man, it's cool. I was pretty convinced on The Matrix within The Matrix and Smith is the one until I checked out your channel and really thought about it." Dude, thank you. No, I appreciate that a lot because, like, people, it's so funny. It is so funny because I feel like people get so crazy about those topics. Like, it's like, dude, I'm not challenging your God. Like, I'm not challenging your political system. I'm not challenging, your core belief system here. I'm talking about a science fiction movie. It's okay for you to disagree with me. This is allowed. Like, I'm not challenging your manhood or your womanhood or, this is not a threat to your existence. I simply think that this is what happened in the movie. Okay, so, right, Black Panther, The Matrix, God of War, Avengers movie, and either John Wick or Godzilla. I haven't seen the new Godzilla, but I'm trying to make time for it. Maybe Mission Impossible. They are great. I got lost in the sauce with Mission Impossible. I want to say after the 3rd one, I got some catching up to do. But what is that Tom Cruise movie with the aliens and the like they got like the bioweapon suit and or rather I'm not gonna, the mimics or what the aliens are called. I don't know why that movie title has escaped me right now, but it's really good. I know Kung Fu, Johnny Mnemonic, man. You're killing it with Nostalgia Blast today, Neil. Yeah, man, I love my 90s movies. I think I put a tweet out about that because Keanu Planet, which is like one of the big Keanu Reeves accounts, but great account because like a lot of the like San Francisco footage leaks and like the different pictures that I find, I always credit the original source, like the Twitter pages and the Instagram pages in the description. But a lot of the times I find them because of those type of the Keanu Reeves fans pages. They are on point. Like, they follow all this stuff. So, when between me searching Google and them getting it, how their network of Keanu Reeves fans, that's how you guys are getting all these leaks the way I can share them to you because we're all connected like that, right? But yeah, I responded to one of those tweets. I think he or she or they posted a picture of Keanu Reeves and Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is one of my favorite vampire movies, and I tweeted that like that vampire movie still holds up to this day. It's always going to be one of my favorite vampire movies. Early 90s, and that's what we were talking about, the 90s segue. The 90s was just this special time in cinema. I mean, you've got this. I mean, because like, when did movies become popular? The 30s, something like that, 40s, somewhere in there. But when you got to the 80s, pop culture was this very real thing, and I feel like the process became more streamlined, right? But when you got to the 90s, there was this jump in not only the technology, but I felt like this was a time where studios, directors, writers were really taking chances. Like, there was a lot of like I said, bubblegum pop culture stuff in the 80s, right? But in the 90s, I felt like there was this push to be different. Edge of Tomorrow, thank you guys. Yes. Live, die, repeat. Yes, dude, I totally enjoyed that movie. I know people say stuff. Tom Cruise can be a wild dude off screen, but he's got some good work. He's definitely got some good work under his belt. I will never take that away from him. But yeah, man, the 90s was just like this. I feel like this special time. Like, even I mentioned that movie Waking Life, where I have the quote from the end of every video, the self-awareness quote, right? That's from Waking Life, which is Richard Linklater, right? And he did Dazed and Confused. But before that, he did this movie Slacker, which is like this indie film, and it was like just this, them with like a camera. It's basically, like I said, it was I think it was Sundance. I don't remember where they showed it, but like I said, it was totally independently made, and like you can see the progression from him from Slacker to his production quality in Waking Life. Like, it's two totally different worlds. But yeah, man, there was just this, like I said, it was like nothing that had ever been done before at that time, and there was just this, I guess, the studios were allowing artists to be different and to desire being different, and you had like the Quentin Tarantino stuff, and the Pulp Fiction wave, and then like everybody in Hollywood wanted to write a script like Pulp Fiction, and you're always going to get the copycats, right? But what I'm saying is, in the 90s, I felt like they were searching for that. These big studios were looking for the next Quentin. They were looking for the next Wachowskis. They were looking for the next, big thing, and letting people be creative with weirdness and taking these risks and talking about things that, aren't allowed to be talked about the way they were in the 90s. Like, I felt that, like, the 90s had a lot of truth and a lot of stuff that gets watered down now, yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Let me get back in these comments real quick. I don't want to forget you guys here. Yeah, man, you guys got me going on some real tangents here today. Okay, original Star Wars excluding the new ones, The Matrix and probably Lord of the Rings. I definitely give you that in terms of like trilogies, man. Like, those are like big franchises. Yeah, and what's funny is I know Comical Realm. I know you saw the Train Man, that video. Yeah, the Train Man's in all of those. So that's like big resume food right there. Okay, real question / opinion, because things just get so much more convoluted / juicy. The Matrix within the Matrix and Smith is the one are just cool theories. Yeah, and okay, my thing with those theories is when I looked at it, because, I don't know Matt Pat. I don't know how the film theorist works, right? But I know a lot of big YouTube channels are like teams, right? It's not just one person. There's a bunch of people over there working, right? And, they look like smart people. Like, I don't think that, like, I don't want to strike at their intelligence. In fact, I think they're very intelligent. So when I listen to the logic, the breakdown, especially in the Matrix Inception video, right? The Matrix inside a Matrix theory. I don't know, man. I just got this vibe like it was by design. Like, yeah, it's a cool theory, but the whole point is for the theory to generate views, not for it to necessarily be right. Like, when I was in high school, right? I was on the debate team at one point, right? Junior year, something like that. And like, my thing was not just to challenge myself, but in order to score points, right? I didn't mind taking the con or the side that was harder to argue, because I knew that there would be judges that would give you the technical points for taking the hardest path, as long as you had a solid argument. And that's kind of like what I feel like. The argument was woven together so neatly, and especially when it comes to the Matrix inside the Matrix theory, like I said in my video, it makes things make sense. It makes things fit in a way, because it's like, oh, well, that doesn't make sense. But if I say this, then I can make all those things make sense. But like we were talking about the designer theory earlier, to me, that's like kind of like the designer theory. Well, that's not evidence, you know? Okay, if I say this, that makes everything works. That's cool, but it's not proof. You know, that's just something that could make it work. You know, and the bigger thing is, like I said at the end, you know, you've got Bill Pope and I'm forgetting his name now. Owen Patterson, yeah, the cinematographer and the production designer, saying that there's a difference between the real world and the Matrix. But even in that chat that I just told you guys I found with the Wachowskis chatting along with the commentary of the movie with Matrix fans on the Warner website, they were talking about the shots in the quote-unquote real world. So, you know, like, the people involved talk about them being different. So that's my thing. It's like, well, if they didn't outright define that there's a Matrix inside a Matrix, then I'm going to default to what they're saying. At the same time, I don't disagree with the metaphor. I don't disagree with the symbolism. There's still systems of control in the real world. And I think that is definitely part of the experience and part of the trilogy. I don't want to take away from that side of it. I'm not saying it in a way that would say that, you know, when you're in the real world, everything is concrete. You know, everything is 1 + 1 is 2 in the real world. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, you know, visually, the blue screen is the real world. The green screen is the Matrix. And they are different. And that they're not both computer simulations. That's what I'm saying. So, yes, I agree. Legendary 90s was always the best. I mean, musically too. I mean, people say rock died. If you ask me, you know, that was the prime of hip hop, and then in the 2000s, it's never been the same. You know, the only thing I could say musically that might not be true is like electronic music. Like, that didn't peak till later. I mean, there was dope electronic music in the 90s, but it was so limited. You know, cats can take that kind of stuff like to all. For anybody who's going to be there Saturday, listen to this broadcast. I got some ear-bleeding sounds for you ready for this playlist. I went into this playlist last night, and, you know, because, like, I'd say last Saturday, the Club Hell Party, I'd say it went for, like, a good 6 hours because people got there a little early, and then, like, I left to get dinner, and when I came back, like, the party had thinned out. But, you know, there was, like, a good 6 hours strong between, like, my lunch and dinner. And but we didn't have like music broadcasting or anything, right? So it's like, let me get at least 6 hours. And last night, like, I put 7 hours of music in the playlist, like it was nothing. Like, so we got tunes for Saturday. I'm gonna tell you that. Good sci-fi stories. I lived in San Francisco, Soma District. Moved about 5 years ago. Now I kind of wish I stayed to watch live footage of The Matrix. Oh man, let me tell you something. If they were shooting on the East Coast, and I don't care if it was Florida, you know, I'm up in the, you know, tri-state of PA, Jersey, and New York, right? I would have been in Florida. I'd have gotten a car. I would have drove down there just to give you guys some cell phone footage of everything I can. Like, yeah, there's this one guy, I can't remember the name of his YouTube channel. It's like Ari something, I think. I don't remember. But, like, his video, like, his first video is, like, one of the first ones the press was running with. Like, oh, Keanu with long hair. And if you look at my compilation video, like, I've got other angles of it, like, where you can see, like, Keanu's doing the same shot, one with the Scully on and one without it. So, like, the long version of that, like, the full version of that guy's, like, got, like, this whole series of, like, YouTube videos where he's, like, basically trying to get Matrix footage, but, like, basically, like, he's only really getting movie footage, like, the first 2 or 3, and then after that, it's just, like, the staff telling him, like, dude, get the hell out of here. That would have been me. I'd have been the guy that every staffer knew, because they would have been like, yo, we see this dude every day. He don't got nothing else to do. Go home. Yeah. All right, Zach, everybody takes chances before you make it, even in music. I noticed it, but you're right. I think there was just better, deeper, more abstract ideas in the 90s, if only they had budgets of today. Yeah, and you know what else was going on, especially musically? And that's what I was kind of getting to with, okay, yeah, with movies, this aspect is a little different, but musically in the 90s, labels would develop artists. You know, they would invest in that artist getting a certain amount of exposure and more so experience, you know, between the studio process, live shows. You know, now it's like, okay, what's their organic look like? What does their following look like? How many views are they getting? You know, and then, okay, well, he's already got a buzz, so now he's on, you know? And I feel like that is taken away from, I guess, the journey of the artist to kind of soak up everything. Not necessarily, I mean, everybody's journey is different, right? And you can not have all those experiences I just talked about and still be a good artist. But I feel like that being like completely eliminated from the game has really hurt multiple genres of music. And another thing is, like, at one point, the way music was mixed, like, this is more like technical engineer compression talk, right? But like, it became uniform. Like, there's like this standard mix that all radio has to follow now. So even when it's a different genre, like at a frequency level, like, you're pretty much hearing all the same music. So that's, to me, more like of a subconscious thing. But that part of it, I feel like, has translated in movies. Now with movies, it's not a sonic mix that we're talking about, but it's the formulaic writing of, if you want to call that a mix. But if you know, to a degree, you know, when you look at like screenwriting classes and stuff like that, like, yeah, okay, storytelling more or less has been the same since, you know, Shakespeare and Greek mythology. That's why, like, all the Marvel movies are like repackaged Greek mythology, right? So yeah, you know, at some level that's in comic books, that's everywhere, right? But what I'm saying is, like, the actual, like, act structure, and that's why one of the main reasons why so many people love The Matrix but hated the second and third film, because it didn't, the second, Reload and especially Revolutions, don't follow that formula, like, at all. They completely do what the hell they want, you know? Where Reloaded is like this ongoing action sequence, and then Revolutions, you know, and I'll admit, and I love the trilogy, I love Revolutions. There are parts that get real wordy and they're like more conversational, right, and more just talking. But yeah, like, they don't follow that typical 3-act formula, I believe it is, or whatever, the 8-point thing, or, you know, I'd have to look in some screenwriting stuff to tell you what the terms are, but yeah, there's definitely, I feel now, like, this lack of deviation from that, and I think that that's, like, hurt creativity a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, it said 90s had probably the best movies. Number 1, Berserk 1997 version. 2, Matrix 3. Area 4, I have to think about 4. 1 cannot fall into the system. Trey Man's the OG. Yeah, dude, he's got some cameos, man. Mad Max, like, that dude's been around. Bruce Spence, I believe, is his name. Yeah, Trey Man's in Star Wars. Oh, now I'm not gonna remember. Yeah. Oh yeah, you saw the video though. Seems like gold was striking. Seems like guy was striking gold back in the day. Yeah, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, his resume is fierce. When I saw that, and I didn't plan on putting that in the video, but when I saw the stuff that he was in, and right, because I actually in preparation for that video, shout out to Vesuvius and Starshore from the Matrix Emu. You know, I checked in with them just because anytime there is Matrix Online references that go deeper in my videos, I want to check in with them because they've got a lot of Matrix Online story knowledge, lore knowledge. Because, like, when the Matrix Online got sold to Sony from Warner, like, I was pissed, dude. I was livid. First of all, I was pissed when they killed Morpheus in Chapter 1. And that was Warner. That was Paul Chadwick's idea. So I was mad at that. But, you know, I was there for the experience. I let it ride. But when they sold the game to Sony, and instead of making more content, they revamped the combat system, because I liked the original combat system. You know, so when they changed all that, I was pissed. So, yeah, I would still do the missions, because we would, like, level up. Like, our faction was one of those factions where you could just come in and run missions with level 50, so we would level your ass up. Because, you know, we were on Vector, so you wanted to be level 50. You didn't want to be a low-level when PvP was open, you get your butt kicked walking around, bang. So, we wanted to help all of our guys hit 50. So I ran missions all the time. So I definitely participated in the story, but because of my schedule at the time, I think a lot of the live events were daytime, and I'm like a vampire. I'm like a night owl. So I missed out on a lot of live events. So I like to check in with Vesuvius, and Starshore actually did Lee Sig. He was definitely he participated in some of the live events, as characters. So, they're like my lore gurus. So with the Train Man, we had a conversation about that. I don't know if Vesuvius is going to put that on his podcast because, I already did the video, but excuse me. But yeah, I checked in with them, and Starshore, right? Obviously he's a Star Wars fan. He put me onto the whole episode 3 cameo of Bruce Spencer, the Train Man, and I'm like, oh my God, he's in that too. That's him. And then I went, pulled up the picture, and there he is with Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan, we out here. So yeah, that's why I looked up his resume, and that's why I put it in the video, because I'm like, man, this guy's been in all kinds of classic stuff. So yeah, Australian actor. In fact, with that said, because he's an Australian actor and because his resume is so deep, it would not surprise me if he makes a Matrix 4 cameo, because we know that the Merovingian is going to be a part of that. So, his casting announcement could be something that could be kept under wraps, because he's not famous American actor like that. Again, I wouldn't even call it a speculation, but possibility. Let's leave it at that. Okay, for people that don't do the research, it just helps make that moment when he uses the Force in the real world on the Squiddies sense. But yeah, the art director is saying the blue and green colors makes it definitive, even though it's kind of obvious. But I only know because I dug to find all that behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, no, and that's why I wanted to put it out there, because I know a lot of people haven't seen the Ultimate Matrix Collection. In fact, what's funny is I purchased it. When I knew I was going to make this channel, I purchased it just to have it. But my roommate at the time, my faction leader at the time when Matrix Online was live, so you're talking about 2005, right? He had it. So that's what was funny to me. All those DVD extras that I'm quoting and citing, I could have watched, but I didn't watch all of them. I watched some of them. But like I said, there's what? Hold on. Yeah, it's right here on my desk. So there's 10 different discs. So that's a lot of content. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot there. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff people didn't get to experience. And that's one of the fun parts for me, is to kind of do that digging for you guys and for people who didn't get to catch it on their own and put them onto it. And like I said, I always like to cite the sources so people can go back and do their own digging and come up with their own conclusions and find their own answers. Hold on. Yeah, so Legendary says music was about the love of the craft in the 90s, but now it's all about money and sales. Yeah, no doubt. Yes, music was mixed completely different in the 90s. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, man. The second or third film was amazing, in my opinion. Yeah, no. It's funny. In that Cyberpunk Matrix interview, he asked me which one was my favorite Matrix movie, and I think my original answer was well, if you're going to ask me like that, I'm going to say the Animatrix, just because it hit so different. It definitely had just a different vibe, and that's because it's episodes, but you've got the Wachowskis paying homage to the big homies in anime who helped influence the Matrix. So there's this element of collaborative creation that they embrace, and I think that brought just this whole new energy to it that I really, really liked. But if you're gonna make me pick out of 1, 2, and 3, yeah, I think Reloaded was my favorite, because it was just action packed, and a lot of it for me though was that speech with the architect. I know it's real wordy, verbose, and real what are you talking about? Concordiantly, you know how to use big words. Good for you. Ergo, you're a smart guy. Got it. But especially when I looked at it in text, when I saw the script and really broke down the lines, not listening to it, but reading it, so much about what was going on made sense. And right, that's what I was going to say, because Zach brought up the Squiddy thing. And I've been trying to be patient. I've been trying to wait till we hit that 1K subs, those 1,000 subscriptions, before I really get into the whole Wi-Fi Jesus concept. But the Train Man actually deals with a lot of that. I tiptoe around it in the Smith is not the one video, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna cover that eventually. Like I said, I want to get those 1K subs because like the Train Man video. One of the reasons why I've been trying to be patient is because I just need more witnesses. Like, that is a big topic. That was a big reason why people soaked up that Matrix Inception theory. Like you said, a lot of people have question marks about that. And, I've noticed that there are some channels, some article writers who have been suddenly talking about the Matrix online and curiously making references to things that these guys weren't talking about before. So that's why I want to have some more witnesses before I get into that juicy, just so you guys all know and some other folks already know where they heard it first, because I have a feeling there's going to be some copycat killers out here. But I get it. That's part of YouTube. That's part of the platform. There's a lot of that going on. Hell, some of those, like a lot of those Matrix 4 trailers, those fan-made trailers, like there are whole channels that'll just repost it. Like, no credit. They just repost it like they made it, So I get that happens here. It is what it is. But I'm just trying to be patient and let this thing develop. Let me get back in these comments. I'm getting lost in the comments here. Oh, just a heads up, the stream is so chill that I managed to draw a background for my art. Thank you. Happy to help. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you all for being here. You guys are chilling me out too. Like I said, it's always motivational for me to keep going when I know that there are people out there listening. It doesn't have to be the most. It doesn't have to be a whole crazy amount. Just knowing you guys give a damn about the little bit of stuff I'm doing makes me want to make more. So thanks for being here, guys. Zach says it does get wordy for sure in 3 and the Architect in 2. But now as an adult, exactly, when you get older, right? But as an adult, I love those scenes in Neo with the programs talking about love. Yeah, man, the Ramakandra thing, yeah. I didn't talk that much about that in the Train Man video, but of course I had to watch it again to review it for the Train Man video. As you just said, it's just actual deep stuff, things movies rarely do now, yeah. And what I liked about that Ramakandra thing, that speech, with him with Neo, he said it's deep stuff, but it's very important to the story because, I feel like a lot of people, especially with the way the first one hits, right? The first Matrix is, very typical. It's very easy. People are good, machines are bad, right? Machine's bad guy. Terminator. Machine's going to kill everybody. Smart machine is bad, right? Nobody likes that, right? Then you get to the second one, and the Architect tells you, okay, everything isn't what you thought it was. The Oracle, that great grandmama figure with the cookies, actually was setting y'all up in case you missed it. And Neo addresses it as soon as he sees her. But when you get to the Ramakandra speech, he's talking specifically about programs having love. And especially at that time, this was a concept that some movies would have, but I felt like even in Revolutions, it just missed a lot of people. That just flew over a lot of people's heads. It's like even Neo's like, I've never heard of a program having love. And, that's like just this whole deep thing, man. I mean, we kind of get hints of it in Terminator 2, right? When Arnie, wants to protect John and all that kind of stuff. But Ramakandra directly talks about it. And what I think is cool is he's not just talking about it in terms of loving his wife, but they created a child. So, like, you can't deny that love. Like, you don't even have to be a parent to be like, okay, that's real love he's talking about. Like, there's no mincing words about that. Like, you love your child. Like, that's just what it is. Legendary says, I like that it's just wordy, to be honest. I love movies that get into lore. Oh, Zach, Neo, I love your theory for how Neo is going to be back in Matrix 4 with his body being put back in the pod and mind wiped a la Cypher style in the Matrix. Or did I just make that up? No, you didn't make it up because his body's in Machine City. I wasn't super specific about the specifics because we don't have specifics, right? But that's the general idea, just in terms of the reinsertion. And like I said, everything is speculation at this point, right? So I don't know that I'm right. I don't have anything to prove one thing one way or the other. But, yellow pilled approach. I did a fair amount of digging. I'm using things from different Matrix media to come to these conclusions. I really don't want to oversell the cinematographer because he's just a cinematographer. He's not a writer, right? But again, I keep referencing this Wachowski chat that they had on the Matrix website, on the What is the Matrix website, where they're talking about the collaborative process. And, and one of the things they said is they like working with the same people because, and I've had this experience with artists, musically. You work with somebody over and over again, things become second nature. Like, you almost start reading each other's mind. Like they said, we want B-look, and he gives them B-look. And they've worked with this cinematographer before on Vanilla Sky. Sorry, he's from Vanilla Sky, but on Cloud Atlas is where Lana worked with him before. So, when I saw that, again, I know he didn't write Vanilla Sky. I know he didn't write Cloud Atlas. He didn't write Matrix 4. But visually, aesthetically, from that just familiarity. And again, when you're talking about the Matrix comics, bits and pieces of information ends up becoming expanded into the second Renaissance. You have the kid story, who's the kid from Revolutions. We see his story in Animatrix. He's also got a story in the comics. He's also got a big role in the Matrix Online. You start to see this pattern. You've got this Spoon Boy who's got a story in the comics. So they like to, or Lana has in the past shown us that she's willing to tie in the different pieces of media in the movies. I would be so shocked if there aren't Easter eggs in this movie in Matrix 4. It's possible. They could completely pretend like the Matrix Online didn't happen. I get that. But I just don't see it. It would be a total 180. And a lot of time has passed since then, but I just, so when I go into the Neo stuff, I get it that it's not going to be, I don't think the film, The Matrix 4 is going to be the cinematic version of The Matrix Online. I think it's going to be more than that. I think it's going to be different in many ways, but I think they're going to be Easter eggs. And, him being reinserted, again, like I said, that's something that we see in a Matrix comic. So it's not like it's completely out of left field. Because I've read some stuff that's completely out of left field. It's like, do y'all even Matrix? What the hell movie were y'all watching? But yeah, like I said, there's no way to know until we see it. So, and then with all this downtime, who knows if Lana's not reading Reddit theories and seeing all these online theories and gonna put some more curveballs in there because we were already breaking it down. So who knows? It could go anyway. So Neo is still alive, or is there another version of him? Yeah, I don't. So, okay. Yeah, I hinted in that video, I hinted to the fact that we don't, see, like in the first movie, when Agent Smith says check him and he has no pulse, right? We don't really have that moment in Revolutions. I mean, we just all kind of assume that he died. But when Morpheus demands his remains in the Matrix Online, he doesn't get him. So we don't have confirmation that Neo did in fact die. Now, I am of the belief that he did die. But since Trinity's back, we know she's dead. So either way, they're going to have to explain it, But yeah, Trinity's death is the wild card. Trinity's the only one who did not die while plugged into the Matrix. She died pretty brutally. Same time, we saw her return in the Matrix Online. So they didn't fully explain that. They got some explaining to do. That's fair. They're definitely going to explain that. But yeah, we can't really confirm whether Neo died or not. So, excuse me, it'll be hard to tell. It'll be hard to tell whether or not, he, right now with the stuff we've seen in terms of the leak footage, it's hard to tell whether or not he was dead or how they're going to play it. But yeah, in my theory, he was dead in the theory that I posted about. And they, I mean, come on. So it's funny to me because, a lot of people have a problem with the solving the battery problem I did. Like people say that, oh, that technology is impossible. And I get it that technology does not exist. I'm not denying that it doesn't exist right now. I'm just saying, like, there's whole franchises about time travel. Like, Doc Brown souped up the DeLorean in the 80s without a super intelligent machine, and nobody batted an eye. So the point that I'm making is, if you have a super intelligence, one that can figure out how to turn human beings into batteries, it is not crazy to believe that they could bring them back to life, especially when we saw Neo and Trinity revive each other already. Now, the next step to that is that when you have these super intelligent machines, and we just saw Palpatine in Star Wars with what? Clones. So if they have their consciousness, I mean, they could have their bodies cloned, right? I mean, this is another way that it can go. I think that's kind of outside of their space. But, at this point, we're just speculating and talking trash at this point. So there's a lot of ways it can go, is the point that I'm making. And there's a lot of ways that it can go without time travel and without it being a prequel. I mean, I'm pretty positive that it's not a prequel. Everybody has said it's not a prequel. So, Legendary says, I wonder, will he come back more powerful or weak again like the first movie? Yeah, so there's that one clip, that San Francisco clip, which was funny because I put it next to the Vanilla Sky clip where Tom Cruise is getting ready to jump over the ledge. Spoilers, sorry if I left that out. Like I said, there's always spoilers on this channel, so you got to know that. But right, I put those pieces of footage back to back on purpose. One, because I'm tying in the cinematographer again. Two, because to your point, your question about will Neo be more powerful, I think that with his reinsertion, he's not going to, at least not at the beginning of the movie, he's not going to remember what happened before, is my theory. He's going to be back to needing to be woken up, if you will. The question is Trinity going to be waking him up? Does he have a regular life with Trinity? Is she sleep too? Does Morpheus wake them up again? I've seen it. Right, that last Screen Rant theory was talking about them searching for Morpheus, but I really don't see that angle, like, at all. Like, especially with it not being Lawrence Fishburne, like, it's just weird to me. It didn't make a whole lot of sense. Zach says, in interviews with the Wachowskis, it seems like Jesus wasn't exactly what they were going for in 3. It almost seems like he becomes more than just physical being, also represented by him losing sight, but not really losing his sight. Also, that machine spirit, like, flies into him. If you remember, that's got to mean something too. Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I don't think they waste any shots, and I've definitely heard them in interviews. Correct. One of the fans asking questions, talking about the Jesus symbolism. And I think Lana said something like, you're projecting that. That's like your interpretation, but that's not necessarily our interpretation. So, okay. With that, like, I feel like there are a lot of, I think the point that they were trying to deliver specifically is, like, they use the word savior, right? But there's also, like, a whole plethora of different theological references. Like, it's not just Christianity. It's not just Hinduism. It's not just Taoism. There are reflections of all these different religions in this movie. So I think that's, like, the biggest thing is, like, I don't think they want to be pigeonholed into selling this Christian film. Because I've seen, like, whole YouTube channels talking about, how the Matrix brings you back to the Bible. And, again, if it does that for you, that's not wrong and that's not a bad thing, and I'm not saying that. But to the point of this question or the statement that was made in the chat, I think the Wachowskis want it to be more universal than any one specific religion. I think that's the point. I think the point is, again, like I said, with the Ken Wilber and the integral thing, and just the getting to the point where we accept other people's beliefs. Like, that's one thing I love about the Commander Locke line, when he says, not everybody believes what you believe, Morpheus. You know what I'm saying? Like, and what's even better than that is the Niobe quote that I use at the end of the Smith is Not the One video, where she says, I don't believe in the one, I believe in him. But Morpheus believes he's the one. But they get to the same end game, the same goal the same truths, the same peace, not because they believe the same things, because they worked as a team to achieve the same goal. Like, we don't have to believe in the same God to evolve and rise up together as a people. Like, we can do that, believing different things, as long as we believe in the same universal thing of, you know, what's right in terms of, you know, not saying your God's right and or my God's right and yours wrong or anything like that, but saying, like I said, we need to protect our children. That's something we should be able to agree on. You know, like, to me, there are core things that we can agree on. And in the case of the Matrix, they agreed on not wanting to get slaughtered by the machines. So. I told you deep stuff, bro. Now I know why you cry. Legendary says, I can't wait for John Wick 4. Yeah, dude, if by some miracle, some cinematic miracle, Keanu Reeves Day is really a thing, and these studios figure out a way to pull this off and actually make them come out on the same day, yeah, you better believe I'm going to spend 6 hours in the movie theater. Now, how that's going to affect the event is, is something totally different in terms of times. We might have to do the party the day before, the day after. But, yeah, that's the plan. If they come out on the same day, we're watching on the same day. Zach says, every beginning has an end, as the Oracle Agent Smith said. Yeah, absolutely. You know, especially as finite beings, you know, we might have an infinite consciousness, and we'll see when we get there. But in terms of our bodies, you know, they are finite. They have a beginning and an end. And I feel like that's not something we have to be afraid of. You know, that's something that we should embrace. I mean, hell, you look at all these vampire movies, like, you know, immortality sucks, dude. Like, I don't want to be stuck here forever. I didn't believe he died completely, that he would resurrect somehow, and fourth film would be released. The ending appeared as a cliffhanger. Yeah. I mean, definitely the whole Sati Oracle moment, they definitely teased it at the end of Revolutions, not to mention the fact that the Matrix Online plays on that in the first chapter. You know, we're immediately looking for Neo's RSI. There's the they had this Sarah Edmonton storyline that never really got fleshed out, but you know, the idea there was that possibly Neo and Trinity had a daughter. So there was that angle. I've heard theories where Sati, some people say, is supposed to be the next one. In fact, this one guy was, you know, telling me that Sati was more powerful than Neo in the trilogy that we already saw, which, you know, I gave him some pushback. He didn't really like that, but I'm probably going to get into a Sati video, you know, at some point. I mean, I want to break down each major character at some point. But as you guys know, as I mentioned before, I've been getting burned doing that. So I'm just going to try to be patient and try to come up with other content until we hit that 1K, that milestone. And then I'm just going to break open the floodgates and kick in the door. Yeah, they're trying to be more than religion, as crazy as that sounds. You know, it's not crazy, because in one of the interviews, I don't know if I played that part here, but in one of those interviews that, like, in the Wachowski interview compilation, like I said, if it's not in the clip that I put on my channel, it's definitely in the full version. But, like, Lana's talking specifically about them trying to capture the inexplicable, I believe is the word she used. But, you know, that's why there's all those theological references. There's something that my favorite example is, I don't know if anybody's seen the Book of Eli, Denzel Washington movie, but Gary Oldman character, spoilers as always on this channel, the Gary Oldman character is like, you know, he wants the Bible, not because he's a man of faith, but because he knows that the words in that book move people and that he can use that to control people. Now, I'm not suggesting that the Wachowskis were using it to control the masses, but what I'm saying is that magic, that something between the text, that thing that makes different, and I'm not just speaking specific to the Bible, the Quran, different religious texts, you know, there's something that draws people, and that, you know, the metaphysics and the extra, the essence, that thing that is in between is what they were trying to capture. And I think that they were successful in that. I think that this is why we are passionate. This is why we can talk about it to this day. And this is why, just like the Bible scriptures or any other religious text, people can use those words and twist them to say what they want and pervert the original meaning. Like, there's a reason why you can do that with the Matrix or somebody's religious text, you know. because it pulls at these points of relations in all of us. And like I said, it can be used for good, it can be used for evil. So, that's why it's kind of important to me to try to stay positive and keep a positive mindset when I'm discussing these things, because I don't want it to drive anybody into a negative space, especially not a place of fear. I want you guys to be fearless. And when I say fearless, I would say fearless but not reckless. I want you out here doing crazy stuff, but I don't want you led by fear. I don't want you making decisions based on fear. I don't want you to live in fear, because that's just no way to live, man. Like, there's enough in the universe that we can't control. So, I try to do my best to control my emotions. Yes, we are human. We are going to feel negative feelings. That's part of it. But at the same time, I don't want to be drowned by that. I don't want to be overcome by that. And I definitely don't want to be a puppet to that type of negative space. See, I'm getting lost in the comments again. So pardon me if I skipped anybody's comment. I think Comic Realm is where I left. It says here, at the end of the third film, Smith overwrote himself onto Neo's program to delete him. But could it be possible that there exists a backup Neo program somewhere? Absolutely. Now, here's the funny thing. In that Matrix comic, Goliath, the guy's still alive, right? At the point in which they reinsert him. We still have Neo's body. Or the machine still have, I say we, Machine City still has Neo's body, okay? I do believe that the cookies could have been used as a backup, and I think that could be a part of Morpheus as well. I'm looking into the candy thing, though. I'm starting to think that there's a difference between the cookies and the candy. I just kind of always took it for granted and assumed that the candy did the same thing as the cookies, but I'm doing some research on that now, actually. So I have to get back to you on that specifically. But yeah, then the other part of it is, the fact that Neo jumps into Mobile Ave wirelessly. When you accept that Neo is hybrid, all kinds of possibilities open up, especially when you accept that he has wireless connection to the system. So, when the way you word the question, that kind of sounds more like why is the name? Altered Carbon, that backup, that DHF or whatever that was called. So, you can possibly have a wireless backed up Neo, but he also died completely plugged into the hardware of Machine City. So you don't even have to go that far. That's what I'm saying. Like, when it comes to Neo, they got all kinds of ways to bring him back. You got the prophecy. There's no real timeline on when the one returns, right? Yeah, Morpheus says for 100 years prior, but that's when the cycle was going with the 6 versions that we saw prior. It could be when the anomaly sees fit that it must return. There's no guarantee that it takes 100 years to recycle, especially with it changing, or rather being reinserted or resetting the Matrix for the first time in this way. So let me try to get to all these comments, because I gotta hit the bathroom here. I've been out here for hours. It's 2.5 hours. It's not a good run. It's not a bad first run. Zach says, but Matrix is my religion, so. Yeah, dude, there was this whole Matrixism movement. Now, the site's been taken down now, and I looked into the guy who started it. He was kind of sketchy, so that's why I haven't really talked about that. But, yeah, they were, taking red pills as, their communion and all this kind of weird stuff. It was funny. And he could be reverted back to the last save version of his program. Yeah, we just talked about that. Yeah, it's definitely possible. And I think that there might be some of that in the Morpheus thing, too. So we'll see, because, I showed, Morpheus had a cookie before he died. Zach says, remember the Oracle at the end of the third literally says to the girl, I think we will see him again. Yes, absolutely. That's saying they definitely foreshadowed another movie being possible. Legendary says, I wonder what happened to everyone in Zion. Are they still alive? Are they still living in peace? So the truce did end briefly in the Matrix Online. There was definitely fighting. The old Zion got destroyed because the new Zion, the Zionists had found another cave home, and they bounced from the old Zion, and the machines considered that to be a violation of the truce. So they were going at it for a while, but then in order to fight the general and save some lives and stuff we talk about in the Matrix Online podcast, they pieced that up. So we'll see where the Matrix 4 picks up, though. They could pick up before that, they could pick up after that, they could ignore it altogether. We're gonna have to see. Zach says, I love the Sati 1 theory. It does make sense to me. Yeah, I'm gonna dive into Sati at some point real soon. I'm doing that research in between these parties. Zach says she appears straight up glowing. Plus the whole one prophecy she fits into. Then she straight makes a sunset in the Matrix at the end of 3, changing the Matrix as they saw fit, like Morpheus said. By the way, everyone in Zion is still raving, eating bowls of snot. Yeah, we're gonna be raving in the Matrix caves on Saturday. So again, if you guys have a PC and you want to check that out, the link to the installation video is in my last video. In both the videos that show you how to get to the parties, like I said, last Saturday was Club Hell, and we set records for the EMU in terms of activity that day. So hopefully we'll get a new record this Saturday. Doors open at 2 p.m. New York time. That's 7 p.m. in the UK. So hopefully I see some of you guys there. I know some of you here are from the emulator. So, yeah, man. I mean, it's fun. It's fun to hook up and hang out and connect with other Matrix fans inside the Matrix. There's just something special about that. Zach says, bro, you enlightened me on the cookies and I guess maybe candy now. Yeah, dude, we got to look into this candy thing. I think there's something going on with this candy thing. I definitely think there's a symbolism there that's been missed. Never even picked up on that till I found your channel. Can't believe it. Yeah, that's eye-opening. Never looked at the cookies from that perspective before. Yeah, dude. What's crazy is, like, I didn't even know what internet cookies was at the time when the movie came out. It wasn't until I played the Matrix Online that I knew what it meant. And then it was like, oh, these guys are crazy. Oh, that's another little nugget that Wachowski chat, the one on the Matrix website, right? One of the fans asked them, they like, are you guys tech nerds? And they said the latter. We're the nerd part. So all those tech references, they're not claiming, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, complete collaborative effort. They totally took in Easter eggs of other people on the team, which is one of the reasons why it's so amazing. And one of the reasons why we're still filling up these Easter egg baskets today. Oh, man. I don't know if your country shouldn't hurt you, but yeah, the PC thing, if you have a Mac, like I said, I've heard people say that they can get it to work through boot camp, but like my MacBook is so old, like I wouldn't even try it. I'm not that tech savvy to tell you how to get it going on a Mac. I know it's possible. Like I said, that kid Keel had a Mac back in the day when we were playing it back then. So I know it's possible to play it on Mac, but I don't know what operating system or what you have to have set up to do it on Mac. I do know it doesn't work on tablets. So, yeah, but like I said, if you do have a Mac, there might be a way. But yeah, you'd have to look into that or check with the Discord and see if anybody can walk you through that. I wish I was more technical there, but I'm not. But yeah, guys, I got to run to the bathroom. 2 hours and 40 minutes, though, on the first live is way longer than I expected. I really appreciate you guys for jumping in. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. But I'm guessing everybody here has already subscribed and been participating in the Yellow Pilled experience. Once again, it's only true Matrix University with your participation, with you guys contributing. So thank you for throwing your questions here. Thank you guys for commenting in the comment section, giving me ideas, keeping this thing going. This is what's always been what's fun for me. But yeah, I definitely got to go to the bathroom. Okay, yeah, last one. Can you briefly get into Thomas Althouse and the interviews he's doing? Is this just smoke? Okay, with the Tom Althouse thing, personally, I think he's trying to play catch up to Sophia Stork. She's got a lot of interviews. Like, you already know I did that video that goes over the court documents. In terms of after that, I've been waiting for something more legal to break. You know, I try to report on what is documented. So I figured with Matrix 4, one of them is going to make some type of legal play or some, you know, more real noise. But if not, that kind of tells you what it is right there, right? So, yeah, that's kind of its own rabbit hole. But like I said, the Matrix is a huge collaboration. And my kind of thing with those stories is like every claimant says, oh, the Matrix was stolen from me. And I would feel differently if they if they came off as like they were, you know, okay, maybe some of their ideas were taken, but, you know, respect that a lot of ideas were taken. And it feels like they just say, oh, it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. And that energy just doesn't seem to fit to me with the Matrix overall narrative with all the things we just talked about. Like I said, I don't even think it just came from the Wachowskis. Like, 2 people is not enough. There's just too many references. There's just too much, too many Easter eggs. It's just a big, big, big thing. But yeah, I'll figure out, I'll try to get some topic information or like try to come up with a plan. In fact, you guys can post in the comments of any video, and if you guys got ideas for future lives, like I said, this was totally a freestyle. So to go for almost 3 hours is incredible. Thank you guys. I really appreciate this, especially during this time where, like I said, I'm trying to just stay positive and keep my mind off the outside world. I've been in the house for like 2 weeks. So thank you guys for helping me not lose my mind. And I hope to see as many of you as I can in the Cave Rave party this Saturday. Like I said, if you got PC, if you can figure out how to get it going on Mac, definitely come and party with us, man. It's been a good time. So it's been real. Thank you guys so much. Thank you so much for subscribing and chatting with me today and participating in general. You know, you can always support the channel by sharing it on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, any social platform, a Discord, anywhere where you know that Matrix fans might check it out and find their way to join us down to the party. Like I said, once we hit 1K, I'm blowing the doors off this thing, man. I got a whole Transformers notebook with Optimus Prime on the cover that's got nothing but Matrix video ideas and notes and stuff that I've been so patient to get after, but that I know Wi-Fi Jesus is a big topic, so that's going to be a big one when we hit 1K. But yeah, we're getting there, man. Chopping wood. Once again, so thank you. I hope to see a lot of you guys on Saturday. And if not, you know, if you can't make it there, that's cool too, because you guys know where to find me. It's at NeoMatrixology, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I'm trying to be like as accessible as possible. Like I'm always checking notifications, and you know, YouTube is funny style. Like Twitter is funny with the direct messages. I don't always get notifications, but you know, I'm checking at some point every day. So don't be, you know, nervous. Don't hesitate. You know, you can always hit me up with questions or ideas, and we'll go from there. So yeah, see you at the Cave Rave. Later, guys.